else. That's from Miss Turge86 in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Chairman Kurt, who is sitting in the room with us, just said, "Where's Tim?"
Oh, nice. Always your own guys.
It's always your own guys.
In all caps, Jackson, no YouTube.
Yeah,
As if you could just flip a switch.
I do, but it's kind of like sometimes you start your car on a really cold morning, much like today.
Sure.
And that baby just won't turn over. So
the camera wasn't working because of the cold.
No, cameras were fine. It was the software we used to distribute the video. And so I couldn't get that turned over. So you know what I did, Doug?
What?
I unplugged everything. And plugged it back in.
There you go.
And now I've hit it, and
So
now
you
we're
fixed
good.
it. You fixed it. Now you're the hero.
Well, we're good. We're good.
Nice reset.
Thanks.
I've got even better news for you now, Jackson. It is the first week of the month, and that means for the next 5 shows, if you do not have a name saved in the Air Comfort Service text inbox, you get to politely text Jackson and say, "Hey, Mr. Papers, I don't have a name.
Right.
Could you give me this name?" And he will do it today through Friday. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll do it today through Friday.
Nice. There you go. So a bunch of good things going on.
Yeah, I would say.
For Jackson. The Lane Kiffin story, Martin, is that what you would go with as our league?
I think so.
A lot of choices. We've got a lot of choices.
Eric in the Central West End says, "Can you imagine if Tim left TMA before the HD1 playoffs?"
The HD1 playoffs. Lane Kiffin will not be coaching Ole Miss in the playoffs. And we have 5 coaches either getting hired or fired yesterday in the SEC. Now that Mark Stoops is getting whacked from Kentucky late last night, per Pete Thamel.
And is Penn State content with the interim? It seems like all the buzz is about the SEC code. I'm like, wait, whatever. Didn't Penn State, weren't they one of the first to fire their guy?
It was Virginia Tech after an unfortunate evening with Old Dominion. Then UCLA had enough with Deshaun Foster, and then James Franklin. But yes, they were one of the first of many.
I think Oregon State also might have canned their guy after 2 games.
In the Pac-2?
Yeah, and then the interim went like 0-9, and they fired his ass too.
2 coaches, 1 season.
Barry Odom's lost 10 in a row in the Big Ten. How did he not get it?
Well, it's his first year, but he might want to.
He's working on culture. What you do when you're losing, Doug, you say we're redoing the culture.
Okay. But the Kiffin things is, I feel so bad for the people at Ole Miss. Because they're a program that's somewhat similar to Mizzou in that they're usually middle of the pack in the SEC, sometimes not that good. And here they finally get there, and just before the playoffs, their coach gets yanked that way. Can you imagine if Drinkwitz had been yanked away from Missouri right when they get to the playoffs, how upset we'd be here? People would be furious. The system makes just 0 sense. None.
Well, I think even more outrageous is the idea that Lane Kiffin would continue coaching. And the fact that people tried to make that sound normal.
That was an odd thing going on College Game
and some
Day.
other folks. Yeah, well, why
Saban too. Nick Saban too.
Well, let him keep coaching. I'm like, he's not like the guy at Tulane is going to Florida, and I think Tulane's like, we get it. We're Tulane. They're Florida. It's fine. We get it. We like him. He's done a good job for us. It's more of a cordial exit. The other guy's going to an SEC rival. And I just think it makes no sense that you would keep him around. And the fact that he, in his exit tweet, X post, whatever it's called, Kiffin was pointing out, I really wanted to stay on. They just won't let me. Like, it was just such horse bleep. I mean, or as Drake would say, that's bull crap. That's a bunch of bull crap. The idea that he should be allowed to and that he was kind of incredulous at first, I'm like, it defied logic, I think.
He talked it over with Marty Smith of ESPN, who was stationed in Oxford all day Saturday. I sat and watched college football almost the entirety of the day on Saturday, and Marty Smith was in Oxford from the beginning of College Game Day and then past midnight. Then yesterday, he got to catch up with Lane Kiffin right before he boarded the flight to Baton Rouge and had this exclusive conversation. Here is Lane Kiffin on not being able to coach his former team, Ole Miss, in the college football playoff.
You know that this was a very challenging, difficult day. You know, we went through a lot last night with Keith Carter trying to figure out a way, to make this playoff, run work and be able to coach the team. And And at the end of the day, that's his decision, and I totally respect that. I understand that decision, and so I just totally wish the team the best of luck. Wish that I was coaching, but understand that it was a very challenging position for him and the chancellor to be in, and totally respect that. So, just really hope they play really well and go win the national championship.
Theory, Tim. Can't prove it. Theory. Kiffin was always going to LSU, but by dragging it out, you make it seem like he was so torn that it's less of a bad guy move to just kind of take his time. He prayed on it all weekend. He's going to go and pray on it all weekend. My theory is that he was always going, but by doing it this way, he was trying to at least garner some sympathy. Boy, that was a tough call for him.
Really interesting.
That I think he knew he was going there, but he wanted to get a little added sympathy. He clearly likes playing the victim, that they won't let him coach his team. He was stronger in his posting online than he was in the interview with Marty Smith. Maybe he felt some of the backlash. But by saying he was just tormented, it just makes it sound a little less of a rude move. I don't blame him. You got a great offer, and you feel like you can win a championship, even though you're in a good spot right now. But at least just own it. I think that's the biggest problem with all of these coaches. These college coaches they all sound like televangelists. They're all full of it. Just say, I'm going to
Jimmy
LSU.
Swaggart takes a hit.
Didn't see that
I'm
coming.
so sick of the insincerity. It makes me nauseous. Just say I'm going to LSU. I wish these kids. I asked if I could stay. They said no. I get it. Pete Golding, he'll do a great job. I'm going to root for him the whole way there. But this is just an opportunity that made too much sense for me. But good luck to them. They're just all so full of it. It's unbelievable.
Can't they just do this when the season's over? Well, why can't they do this at the day after the national championship game?
Well, LSU wants them there for signing day in the transfer portal.
Shift everything. Shift all the signing days in the transfer portal. All of it.
Right, and that's what that's the case that Nick Saban was making on game day, that they moved the transfer portal to the spring and get away from the calendar. And I think you're going to have two things. But then again, no one is in charge, so I don't know if this optimism is not necessarily realistic. Number one, the coaching chaos, if there was a governing body, would lead to the change that you're calling for, Doug, which I agree with, and I think most people listening to the show would agree with. And then I think what you're going to have when they announce the final 12 teams for the college football playoff, you're going to have absolute anarchy. The Kiffin thing is taking away from what strikes me as inevitable, the possibility that you could have Tulane and James Madison occupying 11 and 12 and no team from the ACC in there is heading down Broadway. If that doesn't happen, you have the conference championship situation with Alabama were to lose that game and not get in because of playing a game that is at this point really superfluous. Then you could also have Notre Dame and Miami fighting for the last spot and Notre Dame getting in over the team that they lost to early in the season. I'd like to think that inevitability of somebody being left out that people are going absolutely bat crap about next week, this time next week, will lead to some semblance of change. But at the same time, the SEC and the Big Ten could just walk out and go, we're just going to do our own league. Thanks, it was fun. And that'll wrap it up. Because logic would dictate this coaching calendar and the transfer portal calendar and signing day, which is Wednesday, leads to absolute anarchy. And that's what we have seen here over the last 24 hours in particular in Oxford, Mississippi.
It does at times feel like the whole sport is geared around the head coaches. What can we do to help the head coaches the most? And if it hurts players, assistants, fan bases, we don't care. We just want the coaches to get as much money as they possibly can. That's how a situation like this makes it feel to me. I understand why he can't coach it at Ole Miss anymore. I think he does too. They don't want him recruiting players off that roster to go to LSU, recruiting assistants, bad-mouthing Ole Miss. You can't have him do that. And you can't let it be known that it's okay to leave us during the middle of a championship run. The whole system just stinks.
Well, and the NCAA ruled with an iron fist, and then it was proven they were just over the top, overbearing, and now they have no power at all. Mm-hmm. And so college football, large the SEC, and then the Big Ten control everything. So they're going to just have to get together and tell the rest of the gang, all right, here's how it works. Here's what we're doing moving forward. It's like they're the NFL. Everybody else is, I don't know if the UFL makes sense. No offense. CFL, Doug.
Yeah, it needs some new governing structure for college football, for sure, with a strong commissioner, common sense based, with some power to right some wrongs and change the schedule completely.
Who would you like to be commissioner?
I guess you, Tim.
Wow.
I don't see anyone else who could handle the job.
I'd vote Colonel.
Gabe DeArmond?
Colonel?
I'd like that.
Yeah.
He'd quit in the afternoon. You people are driving me crazy. Stop texting me. Stop calling
That's
me.
what college football needs.
Would Saban be a possibility?
Not after that performance on game day saying that they should let Lane Kiffin coach.
I was really surprised by that.
Him and Herb Street.
Well, the
I think
coaches
they're
are in it
buddies
together.
with him.
Yeah,
It's what Kiffin wanted. And I think because they're friends with him, they didn't want to go against. There's no way they think that makes sense.
Coaches are all about the coaches. That's what the game is about.
Doug, in addition to Lane Kiffin leaving to go to Ole Miss, he got in a confrontation with a.
This is the lead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought we're going to go in 7-1 with this, Martin. It's just too good to bury it. Are you aware, however, of the conclusion of the story?
Not until I checked the Stiefel dossier
Nice.
with young Jackson Burkett's busy work, which has proven to be very fruitful here with the audio on this Monday.
That is correct. This is incredible, and we will have it for you on the other side of the commercial break. Time spent listing teas.
Okay.
100 West Dental and Dr. Brandon Pryor, a longtime TMA sponsor, grateful for their support. It's 100 West Dental on Manchester in Baldwin. And I am telling you, you walk into 100 West Dental and you do not feel like you are in a dentist's office at all. 100westdental.com. What stands out is the technology, the staff, and the fact that there is absolutely no need whatsoever to make a phone call. You can just go online right now, check the calendar for availability, and book right then and there. No dental insurance, no problem. The membership plan aids in the cost of dental work for those who do not have dental insurance. And if you mention my name, you get $1,000 off Invisalign at 100westdental.com. That's right, mention my name, get $1,000 off Invisalign at 100 West Dental. Just go online at 100westdental.com. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you on the program. Lane Kiffin goes up to a reporter and chastises him for quoting a ludicrous song. And then there was a conclusion on Saturday night, more than 24 hours after the confrontation. All of that audio coming up next. Chris Kerber at 8:15 on the Blues. Big weekend. Gabe DeArmond on Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz and his extension, and the college football playoff and the SEC coaching. That's coming up at 9 o'clock. And we'll have our Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day at 10:45. This is TMA, presented to you by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. It is December 1st, and that means Missouri, it is happening. FanDuel Sportsbook is live and ready to roll in the Show Me State. And they are celebrating with a little something for everyone all this week. Every customer gets a no-sweat bet every day. That's right. No matter what you're betting on, if it doesn't hit, you'll get bonus bets back to keep the action going. Whether it's football, basketball, hockey, or whatever you're into, you can bet it all on an app that's safe, secure, and built for every kind of fan. The interface is quick, the payouts are fast, and the experience is top tier. Martin, we've got festivities this evening with Monday Night Football, Giants and Patriots. Is there something that stands out to you, sir?
I got to tell you, the spread is only 7. And the Giants, ever since Jackson's guy Dable got whacked, they really haven't had that bump they were looking for. Giants have lost 6 in a row. The spread's only 7. New England right now has got it rolling. I like that Mike Vrabel. He seems to be a good coach. I'll take them to cover. 7 to me seems too low.
There it is. Martin's going with the Patriots and laying 7. Download FanDuel or visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. FanDuel Sportsbook now live in Missouri. Must be 21 or older and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Opt-in required each day. Refund issued is now withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $20. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. They're playing this in Fayetteville. during their coach riot protests.
Did you see their AD's tweet yesterday?
Hunter Yurachek, Doug, fired Sam Pittman and then became the College Football Playoff Committee chair when former Missouri Athletic Director Mac Rhodes had to step down, to the delight of all the fans in Arkansas after they were able to hire Memphis's coach, even though the thought process was they were going to get Alex Gorsuch, who then decided he was going to go to Auburn, to the delight of the fans in Fayetteville. Jackson, what was the Twitter tweets?
I don't know if it was AI or if it was real, but he posted a video of outside of the Razorback Stadium, a plume of red smoke indicating that they have found their coach, and he tweeted that out, and I have never seen the replies so upset in my entire life. I mean, instantly. It was a typhoon of hate that came to...
A typhoon of hate.
That came to the Arkansas AD. For
They
the
actually
most
put a
tone-deaf
protest
thing.
together. They showed up to complain.
And this gentleman's fresh off of a CFP ranking show where he did a 6-7 joke after asked a serious question about Ole Miss's status if Lane Kiffin is to leave. He's on an ice-cold streak. Not to mention the loss to
How'd you
Missouri.
like to be the guy in Memphis, though? You get this SEC job, your family.
Ryan Silverfield.
I know, you're kind of excited. Like, hey, we got the... And then you start going online. Hey, Dad, they're not really excited about you getting this job.
And today he's got to do a news conference and stand up there and sing, Suey Pig.
Woo Pig Suey. Woo Pig
On the
Suey.
first day on campus.
Yeah, Dana Altman did that and then decided to go back to Creighton, famously. Ladies and gentlemen, the program's called The Morning After. It is presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. My name is Tim McKernan, alongside Doug Vaughn and Martin Kilcoyne. We welcome you to participate in the program. 314-974-0101, Collier and Thompson phone lines. You can text in, and if you do not have a name saved in the Air Comfort Service text inbox, it's the first week of the month, and that means Jackson Burkett will save your name. 314-399-9646. It increases the chances of being read on the program exponentially. 314-399-9646. And then you can open up your YouTube app, type in TMASTL, subscribe to the TMASTL channel, and join Run TMC 50, Bill Reloaded, and Mac Daddy Will Make You Jump, a tribute to Chris Cross in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, youtube.com/TMA. So, Doug, you decided that Lane Kiffin was the lead.
Probably so.
Going to LSU. He defeated Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. It wound up being his final game as head coach at Ole Miss. And then he had an exchange with a reporter who has a podcast.
I think he's an On3 reporter, Ben Garnett.
Ben Garnett, Doug.
Garrett?
Garrett, I think.
Garrett?
It's fine.
Okay.
And here is the exchange.
Oh,
you hear that?
that's time killing.
Just walking off the field on Friday.
Yeah, there you go.
In Starkville.
So you want to walk in here and call me a hoe? We'll see how it goes.
Well, I couldn't hear much of that. Did I hear walk in here and call me a hoe?
Yes.
That's all you need to hear.
You want to walk, I think he said you want to see how that goes, something along
Correct.
those lines.
Correct.
All right. And
So the reporter, I'd say he's 30 years old-ish, looked a bit stunned in the video where you see Lane Kiffin approaching him, calling out a comment that he made
on his podcast
a week earlier.
citing Lyric when Jackson was at Ludacris. Doug, you love Ludacris. He performed on the field at Monday Night Football at the Dome, and the place was up for snatch grabs.
I don't know that it was.
And at the racetrack last summer.
Yeah, Ben hosts a podcast, of Ole Miss specific podcast called Talk of Champions.
Okay.
A play on Walk of Champions.
And he said you can't turn a hoe into a housewife.
Hoes don't act right.
And,
That's a little harsh.
and then after the game, this is the exchange with Lane Kiffin following the on-field confrontation.
Couple of weeks. I saw you post game. There was an incident. I've had some frustration over the last couple of weeks. I saw you post game. There was an incident right before you went into the locker room. And it just seemed like you were a little bit upset, maybe about some things that have come out over the last couple of weeks, or how things have gone the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think, I understand you guys' job, but I think things are fair. Like I say, when questions come, those are fair questions. Maybe I can answer them. Maybe I don't see them. But when you call someone a hoe, that's a different level of stuff, Can't make hoes into housewives, or something like that. But that's about as bush league as stealing Trinidad's jersey like Mississippi State did last night. Luckily we got another one, but so I ain't got any respect for that.
Either, but that wasn't the comment. The comment was, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife host, don't act right. It's not calling you a hoe, it's about commitment. And that's what really the question is. You wanted the commitment from people were asking about where you're committed to, you're still not doing that. So you don't think there's anything wrong with getting upset about something so innocuous as that, paying attention after a win, especially in the Egg Bowl?
Yeah, let's move on from that. Next question.
What's the... I actually don't even know your name.
Did he say, I don't know your name?
Yeah.
So he didn't. So the guy was basically saying, why is that a thing? Why do you care? You just won this game. And the next question.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
Was that the Ole Miss PR stepping in?
I would assume.
Yeah, I assume it was because that the reason the audio sounds a little weird is because it was not in the Ole Miss press conference video that they posted.
They cut it out?
Yeah.
Interesting. Because it'll never get out otherwise.
If you're Lane Kiffin, you can't possibly respond to stuff like that.
On a podcast for Ben Garrett?
Yeah, or then that becomes the story about how you're reacting to every podcast and every talk show guy who calls you out. You got to just let that go.
By addressing it, he made it so much worse, and it will stick with him. It's the Streisand effect, Doug. That comes from Mr. Licks, the Streisand effect.
I'm not sure I've heard of that.
From Yentl?
Well, I've heard of Yentl, but I don't remember. Was she quoted as being a hoe in Yentl?
Clip that off.
Yeah, the director's cut. That refers to you're bringing attention to something that would have garnered no attention if you didn't bring it up.
And Streisand did that?
In Yentl.
What's Yentl got to do with this?
I don't know.
Cross-dressing.
Is that Tina Turner's song?
What kind of hat is that called, Doug? That little cap that you wear?
Is it a
she was-
newsboy's hat? I don't know.
Gender bending? I don't know. So Ben Garrett is now a household name because Lane Kiffin listened to his podcast?
Correct.
Or somebody on the staff said, Coach, you're going to want to hear this. Not cool. You know that Ben kid that comes around? Yeah, here's what he said. And so somebody told him, I'm sure.
And Yentl, a movie that came out, what, 50 years ago,
Yeah, 40-ish.
has got such an impact on players that they're still quoting Bab Streisand?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then Ben does his podcast yesterday, and guess what winds up happening on Saturday night when Lane Kiffin is the focal point of all of college football and transcending even those who the sport, even those who aren't college football fans. This is what happens at 7:15 on Saturday night. Here is Ben Garrett.
Lane Kiffin called me and apologized on Saturday. It was about a 2-minute conversation. Then at 7:15 p.m., amidst all this craziness on Twitter, the same number that called me, and it was Lane on the other end apologizing, and I apologize for my role in it too because it's all really silly. The same dude, the exact same dude, is sending me a meme of him picking up the hoe hat and putting down, or not, picking up the hoe hat over the housewife hat. That happened.
So Lane Kiffin called him on Saturday night, more than 24 hours after the Egg Bowl on Friday, to apologize. And he also sent him a picture of him picking up a hoe hat. And this was before the official announcement. So I don't know if he was trying to hook him up with a tip on the story. But
what is a hoe hat?
It was like an AI image of him putting on a hat that said "hoe" on the front, which I know, Doug, that you have several of.
And several colors.
It's much different than the Yentl hat.
Like it was like signing day, and there's a housewife hat sitting on the
So you had to
dais.
pick one of the two. I think this Lane Kiffin's going to fit right in with this LSU bunch, and where the governor's involved, and they did or didn't fire Brian Kelly. They may or may not pay him. I think he is the perfect fit for that operation.
Well, I'm sure if you're a head coach and you just up to your eyeballs and things to do during a football season and a game, you come off the field, you're exhausted, emotions are everywhere, and you've got somebody that you don't know, that maybe you don't respect, that might not have any idea what's going on behind the scenes. They start questioning you and giving you trouble. Some of these guys just can't hold it in. They can't let it go. And I guess you could probably understand that.
Doug, the Streisand effect, as mentioned earlier, did you know this? The phenomenon makes it worse. You try and cover it up. It goes back to a 2003 incident, Doug. You remember that?
No.
They had a photo of her home. She tried to suppress it, even took out a lawsuit. which led to hundreds of thousands of people then seeing the photo of her home.
How about that? Streisand effect.
In other words, nobody knew about it until she made something out of it.
This is why I love the Lane train. Don't get why Martin always clutches his pearls anytime Lane comes up. That's from Mr. Licks. I don't know
Mr.
Licks. I don't know what Martin was clutching his pearls.
The only thing that really bothered me, he's good entertainment. The only thing that bothered me is that he was incredulous they wouldn't let him coach the team. Made no sense at all.
Craig, would you say you guys should be bullying these hoes?
Well, though, it's all
So you got similar questions.
Let's see. No, I can't read it. The recovering alcoholic was talking about Jackson's buddy, Sweet Kai, but then it got a little.
I don't remember
a little graphic.
I don't remember that being a topic on the show.
He was weaving it into a Lane analogy.
I think Lane just can't help himself, and then he catches him later. Like, okay, I feel like a jerk, and then he wants to circle back and kind of fix things, and then he decides to be kind of funny about it.
What I find interesting is that early before the Ole Miss, the Egg Bowl, there was a story about Mississippi State fans taking Trinidad Chambliss' jersey from the locker room. And since that happened, there's 8 more interesting stories about Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin since that happened, and no one even cares about that. Like, he references it in that post game where he's talking about people breaking in. That no one cares about that anymore because 1,000 things have happened since then.
People breaking in?
Well, he mentioned that too.
Right.
Yeah, in the pregame interview on the field, he mentioned that Mississippi State broke into the Ole Miss locker room and stole Trinidad Chambliss' jersey.
Oh, jeez.
And he also mentioned it in the follow-up there where he was talking about a Bush League behavior. This Ben guy sucks. He's a credentialed fanboy. That's from Brian Henshin, who covers the Colts, Doug, and they lost yesterday to the Texans. So.
No, I do think that is a theme, much as we talk about college football, like who's in control, who's in charge, that I think in the media world, it is a little looser now. Who is, quote unquote, classically trained, like Jackson always talks about for this job. So if you have a credential, who do you work for? Who are you responsible to? If you just say, let's say I covered Mizzou and I had a blog called Tommy the Tiger, and I just went off every game about Drinkwitz all the time. And I guess at some point they'd say, no, who are you with? And what do you do? And why are you here? You don't want the media being suppressed. But I think, and this guy, I'm not saying he's in that group, but I think we're in the era now of who's this person? Who do they work for? Do they have bosses? I mean, is there a level of decorum?
That's the key. Who do they work for? Because if you work for 101 ESPN or Channel 2 or Channel 4 or the Post-Dispatch and you do something crazy in the locker room, they can come after you. But if you work for yourself in the computer room in your home, they can't do anything about it.
Well, they won't credential you moving forward would be the issue, but then that becomes a big topic.
But they can't go after your job and, have you disciplined somehow.
And this guy's probably more popular than he's ever been in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. A journalism victory! Yeah!
Oh, wow. Papers. Knocks it out of the park. And somebody did text earlier that Ho is making a comeback because it was the Browns player that said it as well. He was mad at Juwan Jennings. Yeah. Called him a Ho. Doug, this is a big Ho weekend.
Is that really hurtful if someone calls you that? Are you able to brush it off?
That one I could take on the chin.
Yeah.
And I guess Lane Kiffin's tired of the narrative. He just bounces around. He did put 6 seasons in at Ole Miss.
Right. And he responded by bouncing around.
Right. He said to Marty Smith, and then, which is actually, if you're interested in this whole story, it's kind of a good back and forth right next to the airplane taking off. And he gave him credit. He goes, wow, you just dodged around that police car. It sounds like they were in hot pursuit of getting the interview.
Did you see that jacket Lane was wearing? It's a great houndstooth hunting jacket.
Clip that off.
Really would like to add that to my repertoire.
How much hunting do you do
none.
In a houndstooth?
No, I would do none, but it's a good-looking jacket.
Did it take away from your interest in the interview at all, or no?
No, it only increased it, honestly.
But he referenced leaving Tennessee after just 1 year.
Right.
And he also said that Pete Carroll advised him to take the job.
Yeah. Put it on somebody else.
Yes, I'm sure Pete Carroll's like, well, don't drag me into this. I got a Raiders team that can't win a game.
Yeah.
Bill Reloaded is in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat and says, they're all credentialed fanboys. That's from Bill, Doug, and he's reloaded now.
Well, I think the term credentialed fanboy means that you're just kind of on your own doing stuff as opposed to being an employee of a reputable operation, organization, business somewhere. I think that's the separation.
I wonder what the determining factor is for who gets a credential. I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
And I'm all for access, but I'm sure schools are struggling with when you apply. Now, who are you with? And you could say, I run Tommy the Tiger. And then you look at, wow, they got 30,000 subscribers, followers. So then you say, I guess it's a legit operation.
He also works for On3.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this. I'm just saying it opens the broader discussion about.
And these people, a lot of them, if you let them in the press box, then you got to get them a sandwich, too.
So it cuts into the expenses.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not a respected journalist.
I did see, we were talking about Penn State earlier, and I said, are they just going to let the interim? I wonder if they just give the interim, this is Tommy Smith, Terry Smith. He gets it for a year, and then they kind of revisit the topic potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, might be better with the amount of coaches.
Correct. But there was an online story, and I'm going through it, that said a name that's emerging is Brian Dable. And I'm like, what?
He's been out there with this for more than a month.
But then it says in this story I was reading, it says, as reported by Sports Illustrated, and I said, no, wait a minute. Isn't that the one who has the AI-generated content?
Yeah.
It is getting a little hard to read what's accurate, what's not.
Well, after Mike Leach passed away, Mississippi State made Zach Arnett the head coach for the end of that season and the following season, and then they let him go. So, they could do the interim thing in Penn State, because right now, I mean, that's a situation that I'm sure they're sitting there going in Happy Valley, what in the hell is going on? If we're going to fire James Franklin, you would think that there would be some semblance of a plan, and maybe there will be, but at this point, why wouldn't they have somebody? So they are not happy. They're really not happy anywhere.
No one's happy.
Minus Baton Rouge. They're not happy in Florida that John Summerall is going there. They're not happy in Auburn that their team fumbled away an opportunity to knock Alabama out of the college football playoff. They are not happy in Happy Valley. They're not happy in Fayetteville. Doug, they're just not happy.
They don't like the coach they have, so they get rid of him. Then they don't like the coach that's coming in.
And there's going to be more unhappy teams that are on the bubble and don't make the football playoffs.
Yes, and that's where I think the focal point will be this time next week, because one of the big boys who are in right now, I don't think will be in there when it's all said and done. All it takes is one of the three following things to happen to cause chaos. Alabama loses, Texas Tech loses, or Virginia loses. And then at that point, you will have a domino effect. Only one of those things, much less if multiple of those things take place. You could have truly a college football playoff with a 12 seed of Tulane and an 11 seed of James Madison. That is where things could go. That's where things could be going next week, especially if BYU were to beat Texas Tech. And then at that point, you could have absolute anarchy, because then BYU and I would imagine Texas Tech get in. And so now you could have the following: Tulane, James Madison, BYU, and Texas Tech in the college football playoff. So that would leave 8 spots for the Big Ten and the SEC. Have fun with that one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the program is called The Morning After. It's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. Chris Kerber is going to be with us coming up at 8:15 on the Stiefel dossier. And then Gabe DeArmond at 9 o'clock. You are welcome to email in for our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day, which comes your way at approximately 10:45 the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Brand new month and an opportunity for someone to take home the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the month, because everybody's starting with 0 wins before next month's huge giveaway from Seth Goldcamp and Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling, in which he will give away a $10,000 HVAC system and installation for the emailer of the month for the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day. The morning after at InsideSTL.com. Doug's a client. Martin's a client. I'm a client. DesignAirService.com. TMA's longest running sponsor going back a decade. Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling. It is freezing out there. Any issues with your furnace, go to DesignAirService.com. The program's called TMA. It's presented by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.
This is Jackson with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are back in action tonight as they take on the Anaheim Ducks right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame at 6 p.m., puck drop at 7 p.m. That was another Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Oh, Doug.
This is Babs.
It's TMA 101 ESPN. Jackson carrying over his Barbra Streisand theme for December 1st. Are we going to do Barbra Streisand themes all through December?
Not very dense. Not like a rich history there. I think this song from Yentl will do.
Okay. One and done for Barbra Streisand. Have you done Movie Boy on Yentl?
I don't know if I've ever seen Yentl. Is that one I should throw on my dance card?
You can skip it.
I was supposed to be on Movie Boy, and I didn't get the invite last week, and I'm passive-aggressively bringing it up right now.
It's very fair.
Gareth?
No, so down the stretch.
A lot of stumbling right there. I'm going to shove. I'm all in.
Down the stretch.
I have pocket sevens. I think they're going to hold up.
They probably will. Down the stretch last week, we had a lot of things to do, a lot of things to record. And I didn't want to be like, hey, on top of that, can you do my little movie podcast while you're busy as hell trying to get stuff done?
Me busy?
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, I was, but that's like the Movie Boy thing is something I chose to do, so I can't be like, oh, I'm so like I have to do Movie Boy. Like, no, I chose to do it. So at the last minute, I just Rafe was in the building. I was like, hey, can you talk to me quickly? I was just going to do it by myself.
What a compliment to Rafe if he's listening right now.
Say, Rafe's the last girl at the bar at 3 in the morning.
I know, but Rafe, you made it sound like, okay, fine.
With Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, especially, that being two huge comedy stars, having a comedian on, I thought was interesting. And there's a lot of interesting stuff to discuss there. So I still want you on for Parenthood. That's what I want to talk about.
Oh, my word.
Parenthood, 1988.
Okay.
Based in St. Louis.
But, Tim, the key to you being on Movie Boy is you just had to be randomly walking down the hallway when he's up against it, and he doesn't really have anybody
no, it's not
lined up.
They're not happy in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Open up the YouTube app, type in TMASTL. 249 friends are already gathered in there. And it's Heimblum's spreadsheet, who I think is at war with Carlos Spicy-Wiener over boys volleyball.
Is he really?
I think that's what it is.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep track of all the wars. Has the dais pretended to not care about Missouri's bowl game yet? There's double negatives in there, so I'm trying to follow it. Has the dais pretended to not care about Missouri's bowl game yet? I don't.
Would we be pretending if we didn't care about it?
I'll be out in front. I don't care.
I could not care any less.
Yeah.
I had a hard time even watching the Arkansas game. When you're not playing for anything, it's just...
It's a good broadcast.
Woo.
There's a couple times that the camera guy or the switcher fell asleep. There was tight shots on like one guy running down the field.
Jamal Roberts' name was never mentioned despite him having an outstanding game. It was always Ahmad Hardy.
At 100 yards. So I think I can speak for everybody on the program that we don't care about the bowl game, and I think we've been pretty consistent on that, including Cotton Bowls against second-string Ohio State teams. But Eli Drinkwitz will be sticking around. He signs an extension and talked about it following the win against Arkansas. Jackson, what do we have here from the Missouri head coach who said he has decided to stay? And part of it, I guess, was the fans yelling at him at Oklahoma?
Yeah, this is that clip, him talking about the extension, how it all came about.
At the end of the day, college football is going to have to change all this stuff, man. Like, we've got to figure this out where we're not putting pressure on coaches and programs and people during the middle week where there's nothing but speculation. I mean, we've got Twitter trending with bets on who's going to be leading or get this job, and I was the leading bet getter for a job I never interviewed for. That's annoying. That's bull crap, okay? And it's just speculation. It's just media throwing stuff on the wall, and it's tough on everybody. It's tough on players. It's tough on coaches, and this place has been nothing but great to me, and so I just felt like we weren't done yet. You know, we weren't done yet. That north end zone isn't completed, and so my job here is not completed yet. You know, and I appreciate the way our administration handled it. There wasn't any pressure or badgering or anything like that. You know, really, Saturday night after the game against OU, I just sent Laird a text and said, let's get this thing done. Like, let's just get done and let's finish this thing the way we want to finish it. And I appreciated him having my back. And most people don't know this, but we were going out the tunnel against OU, and there were some fans yelling about me not going to be there, and it pissed me off. And obviously we didn't win the game, but it bothered me because it was a distraction to our team. And at that point, it was the first time I realized, like, that this ain't fair to them. It ain't about me. It's about them. This is their year. This is their season. And so I just needed to do what I knew I wanted to do.
So Eli Drinkwitz, Doug, the fans yelling in Norman played a role in his decision.
Well, I'm glad he's staying. He's our guy. Happy to have him. But color me skeptical about any big offers he may have had. I just don't see it. I don't know how you would have sold him to Penn State, LSU, or Florida. I just don't get it.
Well, and the part that I don't understand is all the noise, all the nonsense that's annoying and it's bullcrap, which I could see if you are a coach and you're trying to recruit people to come to your program and you're trying to get your kids to win a game that week and then they're online and reading, hey, coach might leave. I understand that would be a huge distraction, especially as readily available as social media is now. But he had chances throughout the season to kind of squash it for good. And Gabe even said he wouldn't quite go there. And Gabe, before the Oklahoma game, was going to ask him about all of the talk. And then he brought it up in his opening remarks. That was before they made the trip to Norman. But if it is all just noise and nonsense and bull crap, then you just come out and say, I'm not going anywhere. Mizzou's been great to me. They just redid my contract this summer. We're good.
He made millions by not doing that.
But I know. So if you really hate the bull crap, then you say, hey, there's nothing to any of this. We got a game to win. I've told my guys, I called Laird last night. I called Moon Choi. I'm good. You guys extended me in July. We're all good here. Let's move forward. Let's get some more money for the NIL. Instead, he got a new contract, nearly a $2 million a year raise. So based on what? On the bull crap? So what we don't know, and I would love to know, and maybe only Laird Beach knows, who knows, was there an offer? Did Penn State call his agent? Did Florida call? We don't know what triggered the extension. Because if you're mad that it's just speculation and noise, you shut it down. And you say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm getting paid $9 million to coach these young men. I'm not going anywhere. Done. Now, Mike Elko, they re-upped him. They're having a monster season. Kurt Signetti, 2 years in a row, monster season. So they felt, hey, we got to reward this guy right now. Mizzou's in the middle of what's a somewhat disappointing year. There wasn't an urgency to redo the deal other than the noise, the speculation, the coaching carousel that's going on the outside. So that, to me, I just don't understand. No, I don't blame him. I would take the raise. I'd play the game.
From Doggy's season ticket holder. After the OU game, he sent that text. I think Drink is a pretty stand-up guy, but let's be honest. After that OU game, his stock was no longer rising and likely going down. He knew that. He could still get the money at Mizzou. That's from Doggy's season ticket holder.
Yeah, I don't. The timeline is interesting to me, but it's fine. The guy's done a good job. Momentum's there. We've talked about it a lot. I don't know that the north end zone is related to a coach staying or leaving. I guess it's a good analogy for unfinished business. And it was before anybody could ask about the season. He did assess the over. He said it was a good season, but not great. And he mentions how he said, he kind of alludes to how they just can't quite get over the hump there. He called it the inches that they're short.
The Mizzou fans that believe a word that comes out of his mouth need to have their brains studied. That's from Steven Time.
You lay it on me, Gabe.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical about him being shopped or offered jobs around the country.
But there are a lot of openings, and as you can tell right now, not a lot of great candidates. And if I'm Mizzou, that's the other thing. If you're a little bit scared, you say, we don't want to be the one missing out. Musical chairs, all of a sudden we don't have a coach or a coach we're excited. Look at what's happened in Arkansas, these other places where they're getting coaches and nobody's excited about it. It's easier if you're somewhat pleased with what you have to kind of stick with that person.
And this is going to happen every year now. Every year we're going to go through this with some hot coach who's taken a mediocre team and made them really good for a year, and then it starts all over again.
Now, it always happened in college basketball. Stan Heath was Tim's favorite, I believe. Stan Heath. Remember, whoever made a run, whoever won a couple of games in March, all of a sudden you just had to have them.
That's correct. That's the way that it worked in college basketball and continues to work that way. Drink rejected PSU, Penn State, and Florida. No interest in Penn State, and while interested in Florida, not happy with Florida's NIL, and his wife didn't want to move. That is from the 314.
Now, how does he know this?
314, how do you know this? You can call in Callie and Thompson phone lines.
Write that as fact. How the hell would you know that?
314-974-0101. Sounds like Doug would like to meet you behind the dumpster.
No. I mean, this guy even knows what his wife wants to do. Was this Drinkwitz himself texting in?
If it is him, it'd be the first time ever on the show. So, Coach,
call in.
Although, Jackson, you fielded a phone call from him before?
One time, yeah. It was just popped during Balloon Party. It popped up. Eli Drinkwitz. What the hell is going on? Can I speak to Matt Rocchio? Post haste, Coach.
Is that a new report?
And while he was
don't know.
Hey, Coach, since we got you on the line, Tim wouldn't mind asking. No.
Let's see. You're welcome to text in. People are not happy. 314-399-9646. My overall thought is the following, which may sound conflicted, I suppose. I am happy that he is staying. I think that is a good thing. The way I personally evaluate progress for a program, and this isn't limited to Missouri, is how the teams compete against the great teams. And is that margin shrinking, or is it still a blowout like it was in his first few years? And that margin is shrinking. Now, he hasn't gotten over the top by beating one of them yet, but there were opportunities this year. But there also were opportunities. You also have to, if you're going to talk about how close you were against Alabama and Vanderbilt, and that you're only down 7-0 with 45 seconds left in the first half against Texas A&M, and leading 3-0 into the second quarter against Oklahoma, you also have to talk about the fact that you were trailing against Kansas in the fourth quarter, that you were fighting for your life late in the game against South Carolina before pulling away, and that it went into overtime against Auburn. And if Auburn had a healthy kicker, Auburn most likely wins that game. So those things, they cut both ways. Missouri stole 3 of 4 coin flip games in 2024. But overall, I think he is making progress, and he is getting close to taking down one of those big boys. I think also in this coaching cycle in which schools are scrambling to hire somebody at this point, it is a good thing for Missouri that they are not competing against other schools in 2025. So from that standpoint, in addition to the stability that they now have in Columbia to take advantage of the transfer portal with what I would imagine would be a variety of players leaving from these schools with coaching changes, I think that is a good thing for Missouri. I personally am skeptical that fan bases, whether it be in Baton Rouge, Gainesville, or Happy Valley, would have been enthused had Eli Drinkwitz been named their head coach. At the same time, which of those fan bases is real excited right now outside of the one at LSU? So from that standpoint and the timing of it that you spoke to, Martin, I'm skeptical on those things. But at the same time, I don't fault anybody for doing whatever they can to benefit themselves, their coaching staff, and their program with NIL commitments from a university and to utilize the leverage that they had. That's good business. And as far as the public story goes, I'm skeptical of it. But at the same time, I would imagine Penn State is scrambling at this moment based on the fact that they don't have anybody, and maybe there was something there. Is the gentleman on hold, Chairman Kurt, who said that he had... He is not on hold, Doug. He is not.
Okay.
Did he call initially or no? Who had what seemed to be detailed information about what potential offers were?
Yes.
I think it's real obvious. For Gabe, the next press conference, Eli, would you say you're more of a housewife than a hoe? I think that's the line.
That's how the Colonel started thinking.
I think moving forward now, you flip that script.
All right, cut it off. I'm done. You just addressed that. I'm not listening to the rest of that. That's a terrible call. It's football. Please call next time.
But you wanted him to call next time. I like that. Call next time.
Guys, if that was Eli Drinkwitz texting in, can we get him a few dozen golf balls? That's from Arbor Day, who is the two-time texter of the year on this program.
Because he usually comes in for that Mizzou event in June every year. He'd probably like to have some golf balls. It's the least we can do.
Well, let's set some aside.
Okay.
That extension is going to look really dumb when they go 8-4 again next year with Bo Prabula as their quarterback. That's from Mr. Licks. And Jackson, you won $50 from him?
I did. He had no faith in the Tigers to pick up another win. They picked up 2. Or 3. That's the third right there.
8-4 just kind of feels like who Missouri is.
Fortunately.
In the big picture, from the view from 30,000 feet, they're about 8-4. Although this year, there are a couple plays, you have the 3 or 4 plays from being 11-1 or being 5-8. But it's that way every year. There's so many games come right down to the end.
I think the Arkansas game and the inability to pass the football kind of underscores
that. Now, why do you say that they couldn't pass the football?
They threw it 7 times, completed it 4. In fairness, Arkansas looked like it had no interest in trying to stop the running game, whether it's Prabula or Mr. Hardy or Jamal Roberts. But you'd like to be able to throw the ball a little. And Brett Norfleet was no help. He's dropping balls right to him.
I often quote Howard Richards because I listen to a lot of Mizzou on the radio, and he was critical again. He said they keep running it to the short side of the field. He said he said we've got guys with some speed, some breakaway ability. Let's not go to the short side of the field. So I think the next question
about that. How hard is that to figure out? Why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want to get your guys in space?
It makes no sense to me, Doug.
To me, I don't get it. I don't get it.
And the quarterback question for next year, is Bo the guy? Is Matt Zollers the guy? Is it somebody else that's out there? Again, we're talking about the same thing. I think the quarterback question is still a huge one for next year.
Yeah, you won't know. It could be somebody we don't even know. Somebody in the transfer portal.
I kind of hope. I mean, Bo Prabula made mistakes in the last 2 games I've never seen a quarterback make where he just tries to throw the ball and it goes backwards and he fumbles. I mean, the Arkansas one was brutal because it resulted in a touchdown. But against Oklahoma, he tried throwing the ball to the flat and he just sailed it up in the air like he lost control of the ball. What's going on?
He does run well.
No
He's
doubt.
a good running quarterback.
No doubt. But you got to be able to pass.
I do think there were some precip issues in Arkansas. I'm not. He's had a lot of turnover issues. But that may have played a role.
Maybe he's got small hands, like Tony Banks. Sometimes the ball slips out of there.
But we're all set, Doug. Next week we will break down the Gasparilla Bowl or the whatever bowl. Or I didn't even. You used to get excited looking at those projections.
Will Channel 2 be traveling?
Oh, wow. Well, wouldn't that be great if you had the opportunity?
I think we'll sit this one out. And donate money to the NIL fund.
Yes. Would that even be legal? It'd probably be unethical. Do you think for a news
big
organization
old fan
to send
so when I don't get my credential next year, I'll say, but we donated our bowl money back for the NIL.
Missouri will be lucky to go 6-6 next season. That's from Bourbon Bob in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat where 275 friends have gathered. YouTube.com/TMASTL. 6,220 people subscribing to the TMA. Now it's up to 287, just like that, Doug. You just mention it.
Okay.
And they come a-flocking, including the Nipper School Monitor, Kitty Bates, and Bill Reloaded. They're all in there talking it over. You can join in. Chris Kerber is going to be with us here in a matter of moments as the Blues have a big weekend. I went to the game on Friday with my family, and they were able to come back against Brady Tkachuk and the Senators, and then pull off the 1-0 victory against Utah, and also getting through a 5-minute penalty kill in the third period and picking up all 4 points. And Doug, I think you might be able to say they can get hot and win a baby. They're only 2 points back of a playoff spot.
Yeah, can you believe that? 2 points out of the wild card spot. If we can just get hot,
there it is.
We can finish in 4th or 5th place in the division and maybe get in these playoffs.
You fellas want a money puck update?
Yeah, I love the money puck.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, these playoff and then Stanley Cup odds.
Ooh. The Blues now 10.6% to make the playoff.
Here we go.
That is a material increase from last week. And then it used to be 0.1% that they could make or win the Stanley Cup. Scratch that. It's now 0.2%.
Yes.
There you go, Doug.
It's a 100% increase.
It is.
There you go.
They have to be better than they played the first 2 months, don't they? They have to be better than that.
Here they come.
They have picked up at least a point in 10 of their last 12 games.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of those were just 1 point because of the overtime debacles. But they have made progress, and they were able to beat a team that came in here and just destroyed Joel Hofer the first time through St. Louis in Utah, and then Hofer is able to shut them out on Saturday night, and so a chance to have some momentum. That's the second time this year they have won back-to-back games, and you got to go back to games 2 and 3 to find the first time, and they will get a chance tonight against the Ducks. Pre-game here on 101 ESPN, 6 p.m. puck drop, 7 p.m. Chris Kerber going to join us with his thoughts. That is coming up in a matter of moments. You miss anything on the program, you podcast it via the Schaefer Door Company podcast. With the weather this cold, this is when garage doors can break, and that's where Schaefer Door comes into play. Long-time TMA sponsor, SCHAEFER door.com, SchaeferDoor.com. They set up a number specifically for TMA listeners at 636-782-3608. That's going to get you the quickest response time. And it's Monday morning, long weekend. If your garage door broke over the weekend, they set aside time on Mondays to come out for the garage doors that break over the weekend. Go to SchaeferDoor.com or call or text 636-782-3608. They also service commercial doors. It's Schaefer Door Company, Jason Gosrow, and SchaeferDoor.com. Schaefer Door, a CHI overhead door dealer. Chris Kerber, 8:15 on the Stiefel dossier. Coming up in a matter of moments. Gabe DeArmond, 9 o'clock. Brought to you by James Carlton. And then we will have the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day at 10:45. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. The program's called The Morning After. It's presented by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. Hey, this is Tim McKernan. If you are like me, this time of year can feel a little blah. The holidays are expensive, and so are those heating bills. The weather's cold, and you know what's coming next. Months of winter. And that's exactly why Universal Windows Direct is helping homeowners beat the winter blues with a deal that's all about comfort, savings, and something to look forward to. Right now, when you buy 2 windows, you get 2 free with no limit. Whether you're replacing a few or doing a full home upgrade, it's a great way to stretch your budget further. Even better, you'll get 0% interest for 60 months. That's 5 years of zero interest financing, making it one of the most flexible payment plans they have ever offered. And here's the bonus that really makes this feel like a gift: a free vacation voucher with your project. Yep, you're improving your home now, and you'll have a future trip to look forward to later. Plus, Universal Windows Direct is letting you lock in 2025 pricing now. Everything else seems to be getting more expensive, but your home project will not. It's Universal Windows Direct. Don't let winter wear you down. Call 314-334-2522 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com to schedule your free in-home estimate today. New windows, lower energy bills, a future vacation, and peace of mind. That's how you beat the winter blues. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Well, that first winter storm came. It is here. We may get more this week. Who knows? Did you make sure that furnace is running properly? It's really that simple. You know, when you get out to your car, you want that heater to work in the winter, right? Well, sometimes in the house we take it for granted. So Classic Air Care wants to remind you the first thing you need to do is change that air filter. It's the easiest thing you can do to help maintain the unit. The second thing you can do, get them out to the house and make sure that it's running properly. You do not want to have a failure of that system during the winter months when it's cold outside, when maybe you got to go to a neighbor's house or a family's house because the furnace broke down. Now, if it does, get a hold of them quickly, classicaircare.com. They've got 100 trucks on the road. They can get over to your house typically within 24 hours, and they also have after-hours service. So make sure that you get a hold of them. So as we get into the winter, make sure the house is comfortable. Get it maintained, and if a problem arises, call Classic Air Care. They'll get to you quickly. It's Classic Air Care. They've been making people comfortable since 1926.
Welcome back. It is the Morning After, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you on the program. You can watch the show by opening up your YouTube app, typing in TMASTL, and joining 271 friends who are in there talking it over in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Coming up on our Stiefel dossier, we will have our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today, which you can email in for the morning after at InsideSTL.com. That's at 10:45. Gabe DeArmond at 9 o'clock, presented to you by James Carlton. And right now, here in the Fisher Window and Door Store 8 o'clock hour, it is time for Chris Kerber's Monday morning Blues weekend recap. Morning, Kerbs.
Morning, Tim. How are you?
I am wonderful. Got a chance to go to the game on Friday with my family and saw a comeback win and then a thrilling win on Saturday. A good battle in a chaotic third period in which the Blues killed off a 5-minute. The Toropchenko thing, your reaction, you were stunned. So was Joey, because it wasn't called immediately. And I want to go back through that, the Blues play, and then also what took place there between Toropchenko and Cooley. What is your opinion?
Well, look, you don't have to have intent, okay, to take a penalty. So, like, you don't necessarily mean to always trip a guy, right? But a guy, you can still trip a guy. You know, unfortunately for Toropchenko, you know, it was kind of the knee-to-knee scenario, right? I just didn't think it was a 5-minute major. I think when you have a 5-minute major, I think there's some intent, especially when it comes to a game misconduct. Now, I got to double-check the rule to make sure that it's not kind of like a head hit. You know, like if there's head-to-head, if the head is the initial point of contact and injury is called, it's an automatic game misconduct. I don't remember that being the case when it comes to kneeing, but I've got to double-check that one. So there's that aspect of it. And at times, you know, you'll see maybe, you know, the officials get together and even though an arm doesn't go up, make a call. And that's what happened here. The problem that I had with it is if you're going to call a 5-minute major, you had to at least see some initial penalty, right? And neither official did. And one of the officials you could see on the video board when they were shooting him basically said, I didn't see it, right? And so I guess my initial question and issue with this is going to end up being, you know, well, let me back up real quick. When the league changed the rules a couple years ago where you can review 5-minute majors, which is a fantastic rule to review, or you could review double minors for high sticking, but you can't review a minor for high sticking, right? What we've seen happen now a few times is officials call that penalty to give them the ability to review it. Not necessarily because they believe there was a penalty, but they think there could have been, and it gives them a chance to review it. Well, in this case, I could have stomached and could have handled the 2-minute minor, which they could have reduced it to. They decided to make it a 5-minute major and a game misconduct. I think the league pretty much, when you have a 5-minute major and a game misconduct, and you do not do. There's no more supplementary discipline, right? There's no suspension. There's no fine. That tells me it was probably more of a minor. Now it's unfortunate. I mean, Logan Cooley was hurt on the play. That you don't want to see. But the league basically came out and said, no, he didn't stick his leg out. It was in a stopping motion, in that kind of thing. And so, yeah, in that sense, I think the on-ice officials got it wrong. I didn't like the use of the way replay was used for that, and in my opinion. And in the Blues, fortunately, were able to kill off the full 5-minute major, which was actually quite impressive.
Just in general around the league, do you think people, teams, coaches are happy with the state of officiating in hockey right now?
Well, that's I don't know that any pro athlete will ever be happy with it, but I actually think, look, I don't think we've seen many issues this year. I do believe that it really is the hardest game of any of them to officiate. The speed, the size, the things you see. It's the one sport where in fluid like that, the two referee system has been, I think, a tremendous benefit to it. And what I have actually seen happen more lately, Doug, than before is, I think we're seeing officials communicate more, like in that situation. They are allowed to go use the linesman. Hey, did you see this? And the linesman could have said, yeah, look, I saw his knee there. It was definitely knee to knee. And the officials, okay, I didn't see it. And then they can call a penalty on it. But yeah, I think within whatever reason that balance is there. I haven't seen, too many things that have been all that egregious. Now, that said, I still think that the one call, and we saw it rear its head against the Blues already, was that the goalie interference. I still think that remains a bit of an enigma for the league. But all in all, I think you got to be pretty happy with it.
The last 7 games, 1 loss in regulation. It seems, if nothing else, they've sort of stabilized. It's not as erratic. They're not giving up as many goals. Do you think that's where it all begins? Has Hofer and Bennington have been better?
I think that's a big part of it. I think Hofer and Bennington have been better, but I also do think that the play in front of them has been better. There's been much more aggressiveness. They changed, again, some of that defensive zone approach before that Toronto game, Martin, and I think it's 2 regulation losses in the last 11 games. And look, those overtime games, even though they haven't gotten the win in overtime, those have wound up getting to overtime, have wound up being pretty darn important because you moved to within 2 points of a wild card spot here, still within shooting distance, 8 points back of Minnesota with plenty of head-to-head hockey to go. And then because Utah and San Jose play tonight, if you manage to beat the Anaheim Ducks and get your first 3-game win streak, you'll find yourself 1 point out of a playoff spot going into a busy 15-game, month of December. So, I do think is it just as simple as that? No, but is that a part of it? Absolutely.
What do you think they need to do to get better in these 3-on-3 overtime situations? They've lost 7 of those games already this year.
Yeah, they have, and they just haven't gotten the win. They haven't had. They've had 6 shootout attempts in the 2 shootouts, and nobody has scored. Okay, so that's you got to score in the shootout if you're going to have a chance to win it. The other 5 have been the 3-on-3 losses. I think, to me, I just don't know that they have an aggressive enough killer mentality when they get the puck. The shots come from the outside, or they're looking for that perfect opportunity. And then the second part, and I haven't talked to coaches about this one, Doug, but I really do wonder if teams could be more aggressive in killing 3-on-3. It's such a patient thing. I think the league needs to change the rule. I think if you leave the zone, that's one thing. You cannot drag the puck back over the red line, and if you do, it should be a whistle and a face-off. To me. So I'd like to see that. But, I just wonder if maybe you can even be more aggressive defensively than they've been. And we'll have to see, if we go to overtime again, if they tweak anything.
Coach Q back in the house tonight. Joel Quenneville, he's got his team in first place. He's not too far away from 1,000 career wins. Great to have Q back in. I guess when you got here, he was already he'd been here a couple of years when you arrived?
Yeah, he had been here a few years when I got here in 2000. He was always such a great guy to talk to, hang with, interview. Him, like Craig Berube, Monty's the same way, with kind of cut from the same cloth. Like, so respectful of everybody in the organization. You know, like, it's not, I'm here to, like, yes, I know you're there to coach a job, but he treated everybody just with such amazing respect. So it's overdue that he, you know, was able to get back behind the bench. You can see the impact of it immediately. He's 16 wins shy of 1,000 in his career. He's got the second most coaching wins of any coach in the history of the game, behind Scotty Bowman, who's just over 1,200. And he's got Anaheim going. You know, Anaheim's missed the playoffs the last 7 years. They haven't been higher than sixth in the division. They went out knowing that they got the coach. They made some changes. They moved out John Gibson, their goaltender, which they needed to do, absolutely needed to do. They traded Trevor Zegras. He needed a fresh start, got that in Philadelphia. They made a deal with New York. They signed Chris Kreider, who's back to scoring goals. He's got 12 goals on the year and plays more of a Joe Quenneville style. And they immediately had those Ducks flying again right from the start. So they started, I think, though, like 9-3-2 or something like that, and have come back to the pack, even though they're still tied for first in their division with 31 points. But, yeah, it's good to see him. The league, he's got a presence behind the bench, and, man, can you see that? And it'll be fun catching up with him tonight.
Blues and Ducks tonight, right here on 101 ESPN with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. Pregame 6 p.m., puck drop 7 p.m., a chance to win 3 straight as the Blues are playing some good hockey, and they will have an opportunity to do so tonight against former coach Joel Quenneville and the Ducks. Curbs, always appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
All right, fellas. Have an awesome week.
You too.
All right.
That's Chris Kerber with us here on TMA and the Callier and Thompson phone lines as the Blues will take on the Ducks to try to make it 3 in a row this evening. Doug, can you tell us about Callier and Thompson, sponsor of the phone lines?
Well, it's where you go to get your house fixed up, Tim, whether that's the kitchen or a master bathroom, or maybe you want to redo the basement, whatever. At Callier and Thompson, you know that you are dealing with the pros, and they are going to do it right. You can call someone else to do it, but you may not know what you're going to get. You certainly will with Callier and Thompson. It's a business that's been around since the 1950s. Their employees have more than 165 years of combined experience. The owners, Bob Strati and Carolyn Beard, have both been there more than 20 years. They have seen everything. They have fixed up any kind of thing you could throw at them in your house. It's hard to know who you can trust to be in your home, who's going to be there to back up the work. Callier and Thompson stands behind every job that they do. During the process, they are always going to be available there for you. Callier and Thompson's core values are summed up by simply doing the right thing. It might cost them a little extra time and dollars, but that's what sets them apart from the competition. If you want to get your house redesigned and do it right, Callier and Thompson is the place you go. You ought to check out their showroom there on Manchester and Baldwin, next to Uncle Bill's Pancake House. They got more than 10,000 square feet, more than 20 kitchen displays. You'll get some great ideas of what you can do to your home. Their website is also a good place to go to see some before and after pictures. They just do fantastic work. You'll be very happy if you choose them for your remodel. Callier and Thompson, come home to quality, online at CallierandThompson.com.
There it is. Gabe DeArmond coming up at 9 o'clock on those Callier and Thompson phone lines. You're welcome to participate by talking it over with other TMA listeners. Open up your YouTube app, type TMA STL, and join 301 friends in the TMA STL YouTube Michelob Ultra chat. You can text into the program, 314-399-9646. Air Comfort Service text inbox. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. It's TMA 101 ESPN. Dr. John Canale completed his psychiatric residency at WashU, where he also served as chief resident, and he has Psychiatric Care and Research Center where they are conducting clinical research trials with an opportunity for TMA listeners to receive compensation for time and travel. And the office is in O'Fallon, Missouri, so if you are in the St. Louis area, you are not far away. He is conducting clinical research trials for anxiety disorder, depression, bipolar depression, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. If you are interested in participating in these clinical research trials, go to pcrc-stl.com That's PCRC-STL.com, or you can call 636-244-3593. Dr. John Canale has been in practice for over 40 years and has more than 20 years of experience conducting clinical research trials, and he is conducting those trials right now with an opportunity for listeners to receive compensation for your time and your travel. Just go to PCRC-STL.com. That's PCRC-STL.com.
now. We got minute 47 left, but Missouri has 3 timeouts. It's all but over.
Oh, my God. Suck it, punters, if you think we done. We gon' be your number one. Like it or not, Mizzou in the playoffs. No questions asked, no trade-offs.
No, you still think they're in?
I don't know if they have a shot now.
Can never be sure. They're still mentioning Texas.
Well,
Make the
Texas
case,
is
Doug.
ranked 14. Mizzou is 25th in the rankings.
Yeah, maybe.
But we did just score a very big win. I think if some of these conference championship games fall in the right direction and enough coaches with teams ahead of them in the ranking quit their jobs and their teams decide not to play in the playoffs, Mizzou could move up 13 spots and get that number 12 slot.
So you don't think they'll host a playoff game, but you think they'll be in it?
I think they probably will. Yeah, I like their chances at this point.
We have a number 1 versus number 2 Saturday night matchup coming up this weekend, and I don't know if anybody's even aware of it or cares about it outside of Bloomington, Indiana, and Columbus, Ohio. And what does that say for the state of the conference championship game? We have Alabama play in Georgia, and I think people are like, okay. Am I right on that, or are you boys?
So it was interesting. We both listened to the SVP podcast with Stanford Steve, and Scott Van Pelt mentioned, he's like, yeah, but who cares? Like, and Stanford Steve's trying to like blow the trumpet of.
Is it on ESPN?
This is Indiana's.
That's what I was wondering, but I love Stanford Steve.
I do
can't
too, but it
imagine
makes
he
no
would
sense.
hold rights.
I know.
Maybe he's just
kind of a football
I think
nut.
he's just kind of like a cheap pop in a way, which is probably unfair. But it's like, well, Indiana's never been there. This will be their first Big Ten championship. It's like, yeah, but who's going to care about the Big Ten championship when there's a national championship on the line just a few weeks later?
If anything, if I'm an Indiana fan, or take Ohio State for that matter, or Georgia, or Alabama, I just want to get out of it healthy.
What if you held players out? Like, gave Mendoza the night off?
It's just a matter of time before these things are gone. It's just a matter of time. They are obsolete. And the fact that you have Indiana playing Ohio State, number 1 versus number 2, and people are like, oh, yeah.
Right.
It just, who the hell cares?
Right. They both, either team can lose and still have a bye. Like, it really doesn't matter. But for Alabama, they kind of have to win.
So then you get into the conversation on the conference championship games that if Alabama were to lose and then not get in, that would end it. So in a way, if you want to see the conference championships go away, that would be it. Doug, you loved my kicker spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah, deeply.
And
Timmy Sunday spreadsheet.
Yeah, my wife was so turned on when I did that spreadsheet of the kickers. And I'm so turned on that she's FaceTiming me right now. Wow. Let's see what's doing here.
Maybe she wants in on the show. She wants in on the show immediately.
Very odd.
Wasn't there a subsequent?
Pocket dial?
What makes you say that?
Pocket dial, maybe?
I think it's like she wants me to go over the kicker spreadsheet again.
Oh, okay.
Was there another spreadsheet?
There was, Martin, and that one actually, I'm still getting comments on my Instagram on that one.
Yes.
That was when I went through all of the coaches in the SEC since 2020 and their record against teams that finished their conference schedule with a winning record, and Eli Drinkwitz was 0-15. Many Missouri fans were unhappy that I provided that information, even though it was not subjective, it was objective. But many fans around college football said, well, that just proves that Missouri has benefited from a weak schedule. It's just data. Do with it what you will. This would fall into the category of a subjective spreadsheet. Doug, if Alabama, Virginia, and Texas Tech were all to win, would you agree with the following 12 teams being in the college football playoff?
Oh,
all right, here you go.
yeah. Okay.
I'm going to state them.
Okay.
1, Ohio State or Indiana. I'm not necessarily putting Ohio State, Indiana 2, but we would agree that they're both in, so that's 2 spots. And operating again, Bama, Virginia, Texas Tech win. I would say Texas Tech is probably 3 at that point. Alabama, 4. I think they would pass Oregon at 5 as the SEC champion, but that could be flipped. It would matter from a bye standpoint. Georgia, 6. Again, the point being the teams, not necessarily the rankings. Ole Miss, 7. A&M 8, Oklahoma 9, Notre Dame 10, Virginia 11, and then one of Tulane, North Texas, James Madison 12.
BYU's not getting in there anywhere?
BYU would now have 2 losses, and I think BYU, without question, would be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, if they lose, for sure.
Would you agree with that?
That sounds pretty good.
Now, at that point, Miami, with 2 losses, would be on the outside looking in to a team that they beat heads up with 2 losses.
Well, there's just no way around it with the current system.
Let's isolate on that question, though. Let's isolate. Miami has 2 losses. Notre Dame's got 2 losses.
Who passes the eye test?
Oh, the old eye test. Martin, what do you think of that?
Those 2 head-to-head, how do you keep Notre Dame out? Or how do you keep Miami out? I don't think you can. I mean, if they have the same record and they're head-to-head, isn't that the deciding factor in almost every league? You start with head-to-head.
Eye test.
You're going eye testing?
I'm not.
You would put Miami in ahead of Notre Dame?
Yeah.
I think you have to. I want Notre Dame in there. I don't want to see Jeremiah Love run all over the place.
What about 2-loss Vanderbilt?
Well, I'll get to all of that, but for the purpose of the conversation, operating on the premise again, because we'll get into the other scenarios here. This is operating on the premise that Bama, Virginia, and Texas Tech win. At that point, Notre Dame is in the conversation against Miami, but BYU certainly would be out at that point. Vanderbilt would be out at that point. The conversation about Texas is going on. I like it just in the sense that it brings up the fact that there is zero reward for playing out-of-conference teams like Ohio State or anybody for that matter. I mean, what's the point?
Right, Texas would be sitting there at 10-2 if they wouldn't have made the trip to Columbus in the horseshoe.
That's correct. With having beaten Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma, and they would be in the college football playoff. Now, you can say they lost to Florida, and they absolutely did, but the point being, why would a university put those games on their schedule at this point? So that's another point of the conversation. Now, just for the sake of the conversation, if Alabama loses, Virginia wins, and Texas Tech wins, Ohio State, Indiana, whoever wins that is number 1. I would tell you that I think Georgia moves up to number 2 at that point. Then you'd have Ohio State, Indiana as a loser, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Notre Dame. And then does Alabama get in at 10 with 3 losses, or would Miami get in at that point with 2 losses? What do you think would happen?
I think Alabama would probably get in. I think they probably should get in.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And it would be the end of the conference championship games for the SEC if they go, okay, we get into this thing and now we're out. I just can't imagine that they would not get in. Martin, what do you think?
That Alabama with 3 losses, I think they're going to get in no matter what.
No matter what.
I think they're getting in no matter what. And I think Miami and Notre Dame, who's Notre Dame's best win?
USC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably USC.
Yeah.
There's not a lot there other than the 2 hard games they had earlier that they lost. What about Miami? Their best win was beating Notre Dame.
That's correct.
Neither Miami or Notre Dame, if you're just looking at their schedule they played, wows you. I think Bama, if they get a 3rd loss in a conference championship, I can't hold that against them. I just can't.
Kalen DeBoer was asked about the possibility of the loss keeping his team out of the college football playoff. Here is his response following the Iron Bowl.
I'm not saying your question is crazy, but just that would be unreal. You know, I mean, we're 10-2 and 7-1 in the SEC with all these ranked wins, and again, like some wins on the road. We got a more than a playoff caliber football team. There's not a question in my mind.
And unless I've missed it, doesn't he seem pretty normal? Like
he does. Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer, I agree with you. Like we talk about all these coaches who are always into it, the media or scolding him or sound like televangelists, and then this Kalen DeBoer just seems kind of in the middle of a tough spot, replacing Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Didn't he just say they were 7-1 in the conference?
Yeah.
They weren't. They were 6-2 in the conference. They lost to Texas and Alabama. Vanderbilt.
He's talking about that was Kalen DeBoer, head coach of Alabama.
No, the Bama coach.
Clark Lee.
The Bama coach.
No.
Lost my footing there for a second there.
Well, then never mind.
Now, let me get into some conspiracies for you. If you're the Big 12, who would you like to see win on Saturday?
I guess BYU, right?
That's right.
Because Tech's safe.
Because Tech's in. And then you'd have
He's operating on the premise that they are.
Right.
And if you're the ACC, who would you like to see win on Saturday? I'll answer since...
Probably Miami to make sure they get in.
Well, Miami won't be participating in the game, so it's Virginia and Duke and Virginia, because Duke will not be
Who can
getting
keep it all straight? Yeah. UVA. For a second, I forgot who they were playing in the championship.
The ACC
I knew it
is
wasn't
so
Miami.
consequential. They were all like,
because if Virginia loses, I don't think the ACC gets into the college football playoff.
Right.
If BYU loses, Texas Tech is the only Big 12 representation. So, with that premise established, keep an eye on that. And here is what we have, just for the sake of playing it out. If Bama wins, Virginia wins, and Texas Tech loses, you have Ohio State and Indiana, you have Alabama, you have Oregon, you have Georgia, you have Ole Miss, you have A&M, you have Oklahoma, you now have BYU automatically in, and then you have Texas Tech, Virginia is in, and then a group of 5 is in.
Yeah, wow.
Notre Dame is now out.
Notre Dame's out, Vandy's out, Miami's out, ton of 2-loss teams out.
So I realize most people are not paying attention to BYU Texas Tech outside of Utah and Lubbock, but look at the impact of that. That's the math. That's the math that Notre Dame would be on the outside looking in. So the committee wouldn't even have to deal with the Notre Dame versus Miami conversation at that point, unless I don't know who else could possibly go. I don't think it would be Oklahoma. I don't think they would have Texas Tech go from 4 to all the way out by losing to a team that they already beat. So look at how quickly things can change. And then you're sitting there going, oh, my God, we've got Virginia and we've got Tulane playing for the national championship. And we don't have Miami, Notre Dame, 10-2, Vanderbilt. As Steve Sarkisian points out, I like it, but I just don't think that they're going to get in. And I don't think they should, for the record. Texas, who beat 3 top 10 teams. And then, just for the sake of it, if Alabama wins, Virginia loses, and Texas Tech loses, at that point, you will have absolute anarchy. And what do I mean by that? Well, you'll have Ohio State and Indiana. You'll have Alabama, Oregon, Georgia, BYU, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Texas Tech. But you will then have 2 of the following: Tulane, North Texas, James Madison. So that means Tulane could go between the hedges, and James Madison could head to BYU.
Oh, yeah.
There's half of your first-round matchups. And the reason I go through all of these scenarios with my Sunday spreadsheet is to present to you the reason why I believe this will be changing when they get together after the college football playoff national championship game in mid-January.
So it goes to 16 for sure, and then does that eliminate the conference championship? I guess.
I know that would be tied into television deals.
Go to ESPN and say, here's the deal. You're going to get these playoff games that are going to be more exciting, more interest than these conference championships.
So if you do get that scenario, Martin, where Bama wins and then Virginia loses, keeping the ACC out, and Texas Tech loses, but Texas Tech still stays in as an at-large, meaning the Big 12 gets 2, but then the AC gets nobody, which means you have Tulane, North Texas, James Madison, 2 of those 3 in the college football playoff. That ends it. That's my belief. Just like I think what has transpired with Lane Kiffin will play a role in some semblance of change with the college football calendar. Now, I say this, and when I say they, I don't know who they is, because there really is no one in charge. Who is in charge is the SEC and the Big Ten. And the Big Ten and the SEC are going to make the decisions in reality. But presenting those scenarios for you, you hear why I point that out, because you truly could have a situation in which Tulane, North Texas, James Madison. 2 of those 3 are in, while Notre Dame, Miami, 10-2 Vanderbilt, 9-3 Texas. Take whoever else you want to include in the conversation would be on the outside looking in. Gabe DeArmond is going to join us coming up at 9 o'clock, brought to you by James Carlton. The program is presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. Brown and Crouppen is online at brownandcrouppen.com, or you can call them at 314-222-2222. They are local. That is why on Tuesdays you can hear from Ed Herman, Andy Crouppen, and Terry Crouppen in studio with us because they are here in the St. Louis area. A loyal sponsor of this program. They have signed up for 2026, and we ask that you support the sponsors, and they are local. And if you're in need of a personal injury attorney, wouldn't you want somebody who knows the local legal environment? That's Brown and Crouppen. Founded here in St. Louis in 1979. They just redid a warehouse down on the hill, right across from Ragazzi's, and that's their commitment to St. Louis. Local. Brown and Crouppen. brownandcrouppen.com, or by calling 314-222-2222. It's Brown and Crouppen. Remember, the choice of lawyer is an important decision. It should not be based solely on advertisements. A great weekend for St. Louis University in one sense, and a brutal outcome in another. We'll have that for you. Then Gabe DeArmond coming up at 9 o'clock. It's TMA 101 ESPN.
You know all about the lowered prices at Schnucks. They dropped those prices over 2,300 items. That continues to be the case throughout the store. And on top of that, saving you money when they can, they also feature the Bistro case. Nothing more annoying than having to figure out what's for dinner at the end of a busy day, cold day like today. If you're stressed from the workday, overwhelmed, school activities, kids on the run, well, do something a little different. Stop by the Schnucks Bistro case. Schnucks created that new case full of unique restaurant-inspired dishes, including entrees like blackened salmon, barbecue pulled pork, garlic grilled chicken. Also, tons of flavorful sides, Mediterranean green beans, sesame noodle salad. You can make it into a meal choosing the Schnucks Pick 3 plate. That includes your choice of the entree and 2 sides, starting at just $9.99. All of this available at the Bistro case at your neighborhood Schnucks. Let them do the cooking for you. Stop by and check out the Bistro case at Schnucks.
This is Jackson with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. This just in. Kentucky dismisses head football coach Mark Stoops. The school's athletic director announced just this morning. That was another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back to TMA 101 ESPN. Doug, did you know Prince wrote this?
I don't believe I knew that, no. I wish I had. Wish I'd come in here with that knowledge.
Bananarama, is it?
The Bengals.
Oh, God, I'll take some time off.
You're going to take some time off starting at 10. It's Teammate 101 ESPN shows presented by Brown and Crouppen, Fisher Window and Door Store, 8 o'clock hour. The Colonel's going to join us coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. Gabe DeArmond brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. I was watching live on Thanksgiving as the Billikens beat Santa Clara. Great game, important win. And then I was watching live on Friday evening as the Billikens experienced heartbreak in the final seconds against Stanford. They were leading 47-36 at the half, and a game that they absolutely should have won. It never should have come down to this. They are leading by 3 with time ticking down, and this is where I'm going to turn to our basketball expert, Jackson Burkett. He defeated Jason Tatum while at Ladue and Tatum at Chaminade. Jackson, your thoughts on fouling down 3?
Always.
When
you have the opportunity, when it is, you're not going to run the risk of fouling somebody on a shot, like they are going to quickly fire up a shot and get 3 free throws, you should always foul up 3. It's the right play. The only situation, like the risk is they hit the 3 and you don't foul, you tie, go to overtime. More than likely, though, they're going to shoot 2 free throws, try to miss the second. You're either going to get the rebound or they won't be able to make the bucket. It's always the play.
They did foul. It looked like it might have been on the shot, but they ruled it on the floor. Stanford goes to the line, hits the first free throw, then intentionally misses the second. Here is the call.
6-10. Let's see what Okori does. He missed it. Rohosi with 4. Down the other end. It's over. Stanford comes back to win it. They win the Acrisure Invitational Championship.
And with that, the Billikens lose 78-77 in a game they really did dominate. And like I said, led by 11 at the half.
Yeah, that hurts because they really had a thing going there. 6-0 start. 7-0 would have been super, but they do have a solid team this year. Looks like they can play with anybody that they run up against.
When that scenario late, really there was only 3 seconds left. The only thing that could happen
is what happened. And you saw how crazy that shot was.
Wild bounce. They happened to run down the ball and then chuck it and make it.
I mean, that's a 1% 3-point attempt.
And I think Schertz talked about when they do it based a little bit. It had to do with like time on the clock.
That's a big factor.
When you get
with 6 seconds left, probably don't want to because you have a lot of opportunity to get the board. But with 3 or 4, absolutely, every time.
Here is a friend of the program and occasional co-host Josh Schertz.
Gut-wrenching loss. Our guys, we fought, just weren't good enough. Really, played poorly both games out here. Again, credit them, as well. I don't want to, it's not all us. They made a lot of plays. We made a lot of plays, free throws and execution and down the stretch. But just, everybody will focus on that last play. But we lost that game 100 different ways. There was nobody out there not playing their best, not giving their best. But, we've got to be better. We've not played well on this trip. And could have, maybe should have came out 2-0. We didn't. But it's all about how we respond and what lessons we learn and we take, and that we're a better team on Tuesday night because of what happened tonight.
They'll take on Loyola Marymount tomorrow night in Southern California. That's the game he makes reference to. I just hope that play does not keep them out of the NCAA tournament. And as ridiculous as the current setup is for teams like the Billikens, as crazy as it is, it could wind up playing a role. You agree with that, Jackson, or do you see it?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, their at-large chances are very minuscule at this point, just because you don't have like that signature Power 4 win.
Missouri will have its first legitimate opponent, all due respect to Minnesota, tomorrow night. The Colonel, who's going to join us in a matter of minutes, just tweeted out, the net rankings debuted this morning. Missouri starts at number 51 in the rankings, largely thanks to a schedule strength of 364 out of 365 teams.
No, I hate that. Why do they do that to themselves? Just to get easy wins? That's kind of weak.
Jackson, I mean, you're on the team.
Oh, I don't like the way that they've done the schedule the last few years.
That could cost you minutes right there, that comment.
It's fine. It's where I stand in my beliefs. Yeah, I don't like playing a bunch of nobodies and only making mid to late December and then SEC play like your season. Like, mix. If you're going to do it, at least mix in once or twice. And Minnesota, God bless them, but they're no good.
And you do have Kansas, Illinois coming up.
There's no doubt. They have Kansas and Illinois.
But there's a lot.
Look at Illinois' schedule.
Oh, my God.
They played UConn while we were gone. Like, that's
playing Tennessee now. They constantly are playing big-time opponents.
No, I wish and it doesn't hurt. Like, it really doesn't hurt if you go out and lose a game like that. Like Illinois lost to Alabama. That's not going to hurt them in the long run.
Well, hopefully that won't hurt the Billikens. Because Stanford's a pretty good team. They're 6-1, too.
Stanford can play. SLU was dominating that whole game. I can't believe that they lost that one. I thought they played great.
I was gutted. Yeah. I was legitimately gutted.
Like they were balling.
When that, because I'm like, this is a good team, but I know the circumstances in the NCAA tournament for a team like the Billikens. If that, as weird as it might sound, as big of a Missouri fan as I am, I'm like, if that happens against, because it's not going to matter. Most likely, it's not going to matter. But for the Billikens, they needed that, as crazy as it is, considering it's a game in late November. For the record, that Minnesota team that Missouri did beat played Santa Clara the following night and in that tournament, and that's the team that Stanford beat to get to the Billikens, and they lost to Santa Clara, who was winning 51-27 at the half. Before winning that thing by 11 points. Now, go ahead.
No, I was finish your thought. I'm sorry. Then I have some Blues breaking news.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Breaking news, and it's not good news. Jimmy Snuggerud is going to have surgery on his left wrist, out for 6 weeks to be reevaluated.
Oh my goodness!
So just when the Blues news was turning positive, they just announced this today that Snuggerud suffered a left wrist injury requiring surgery, going on IR, but also Alexei Toropchenko is week to week after sustaining scalding burns to his legs in a home accident.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, sounds awful.
That happened just like yesterday?
I don't know. I mean, they played Saturday, and this just announced by the Blues, so 2 of your main pieces and your forwards.
Yeah, Jerry Rutherford just 1 minute ago announcing Jimmy Snuggerud will undergo surgery on his left wrist and be reevaluated in 6 weeks, and then Toropchenko sustained scalding burns on his legs in a home accident and is listed week to week. My God. Get on a heater, little buzz, and then you have snipes. That's brutal. Absolutely brutal. We just had Chris Kerber on, and we were talking about the team getting some momentum, picking up points in, 10 of their last 12? And, wow. What brutal news.
Yeah, you can't help but wonder what Toropchenko was doing to suffer burns that serious.
I don't know that I've heard that before as an injury for a professional athlete. The Blues did recall forward. Doug, is it Alex Santeri?
Let's go with that.
Kaskamaki? I believe it's Kaskamaki has been recalled from Springfield. There you go, Doug.
Well, Snugger, it'd be tough to replace him. Toropchenko was getting the least amount of ice time among their forwards, so they'll probably have a guy who can slide in and cover that. But Snuggerud's loss will be difficult to overcome, I would think.
That news just coming out that Jimmy Snuggerud will undergo surgery on his left wrist and be reevaluated in 6 weeks. Brutal.
That's a long time. It's a lot of games.
Brutal. Yeah, they're playing. I mean, that he's done for December, and the Blues have 15 games in the month of December, 7 on the road, 8 at home, and they will be at the halfway point of the season when the month comes to a conclusion. So brutal news there for the Blues. And we were already talking last week with Jeremy Rutherford about Doug Armstrong looking at some moves, and the Blues getting that momentum going by beating Ottawa, beating Utah, and now getting this news. I wonder if that factors in to how he approaches things. Your thoughts are welcome. 314-399-9646. You can text into the program. Gabe DeArmond's going to join us on the Stiefel dossier coming up for his Monday morning hit, brought to you by James Carlton. I deep teased this before we got the Blues news, but I want to make sure we deliver on it. Last night, the Billikens played Bryant in the NCAA men's soccer tournament, and it went to penalty kicks. And here is the call of the end that led to a St. Louis University win and continuing on in the NCAA tournament.
Big time moment off the chip. Abanel makes the stop. Billikens advance to the quarterfinals.
Okay.
That's my soccer sounder.
Oh, you had it.
Like
I thought they just started chanting immediately in Smithfield, Rhode Island.
That's my soccer sounder.
Akron defeated Duke, so the Billikens will take on the Zips, Doug, for the opportunity to go to the Final Four.
Lost to the Zips earlier this year. One of the only 2 losses the Billikens have. I think they're unbeaten in their last 13, but they've been on a little magical run here, Doug. We'd like to see it continue.
That game will be in Ohio.
Saturday, I think at noon.
That's correct.
Central.
That is correct.
How about that?
Is that televised?
Oh, yeah.
It's probably somewhere.
That one's probably on like a CBS Sports Network or something or other.
This was on an ESPN Plus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
How about the Saturday one? Will that be on?
Oh, I'm sure it will be. If that one
of those,
it's got to be. It is at noon, by the way, this Saturday. The Billikens taking on Akron as they defeat Bryant last night in penalty kicks to advance to the quarterfinals. The Colonel, Gabe DeArmond, is going to join us coming up in the next segment here in our Mark Hanna Evergreen Wealth Strategies 9 o'clock hour. Give Mark a call, 314-889-0503. Jackson, have you worked on a slogan for Mark Hanna?
Yeah. How much do I like Mark Hanna, Doug?
How much?
I work with him.
That's the slogan then.
Yeah.
Okay.
As simple as that. Proof's in the pudding.
Really nice.
Evergreen-ws.com is where you can find Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. He has the unique ability to make you feel better about the world in general and then also your financial situation just by having a conversation with him. 314-889-0503. He is a financial advisor. Evergreen Wealth Strategies, 314-889-0503. I know Mark. I have leaned on Mark for advice over the years. I think very highly of him, and I cannot emphasize enough the importance of having a financial advisor. Just by making that phone call, you will take the first step to feeling better about your situation because you've talked with somebody who knows how to put you on the right track. That's Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategy, sponsor of our 9 o'clock hour here on The Morning After. The show is presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMASTL YouTube channel.
live in, which is called Missouri.
Doug, what is this going to sound like? Get the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
I don't know if I'll be able to contain myself. It's probably as excited as I've been looking forward to a game.
Nice. I like that. It's TMA 101 ESPN joining us now, brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency for his Monday morning appearance on this program. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to welcome the Colonel Gabriel P. DeArmond. Morning, Colonel.
What's up, guys?
Colonel, you have been all over the Missouri Eli Drinkwitz saga and wrote a great column this morning on PowerMizzou.com. Recommended reading for people and recommended subscription as well. Your perspective on what made Eli Drinkwitz decide to sign the contract extension?
I think ultimately only he really knows that. You know, there will definitely be a contingent of people that say, well, he knew he wasn't getting the other jobs, and so he re-signed here. You know, Missouri and him, as they should, will sell, hey, he's got a good situation, and he wanted to stay here. It might be some mix of the two. I don't really know. I still contend if he had waited it out, he would have probably had options. I mean, like, I've got to believe that Auburn would have offered Eli Drinkwitz the job before offering it to Alex Golesh. At Penn State, nobody has any idea what Penn State is doing. It changes every day. I assume they're just waiting for Andy Reid or, you know, Nick Sirianni to be available at the end of the year. But I don't know. I think he ultimately did want to be here, realizes he had a good situation. Now, would he have wanted to be somewhere else, too, if he had the option? Sure, maybe. But I thought the timing was important, that it got done before all the other shenanigans, because now at least it can be sold as he picked this rather than seeing about something else.
Do you think he really did? Are you pretty certain that he had?
I don't know.
Had other offers? No idea.
I mean, I had a couple of people tell me, you know, that he could have had the Penn State job if he went. The word offer is so hard in this because the only guy that's ever offered the job is the one that takes it. You know, I mean, it's very much like passing the note in school. If I like you, do you like me? And if you don't like me, then I never liked you to begin with. You know, but I think he probably could have had Penn State if he wanted it. I think he probably could have had Auburn if he waited. You know, I'm certain he could have had Ole Miss or Arkansas, but I don't think those would have been options. Florida, I don't think was going to happen. There was just too much negative fan reaction to that, and LSU obviously was the one school here who set out to get a guy and got him.
And somebody that knows him said to me, it's overtures more so than offers. So if somebody calls his agent, hey, you interested? And I think you pointed this out over the last month or so. He never, you know, pounded the podium and said, I'm a Mizzou man, I'm not leaving. He just he kept referencing it's noise, it's a distraction. But he really never did, like, beat his hand on the table and say, I'm not going anywhere. And it's probably strategic. They probably all do that on purpose.
Yeah, and you know, he can sell this thing like they all are able to kind of hide behind semantics. I know he went on to, hey, it's bull crap. I was the betting favorite for a job I never interviewed for. Like, I don't believe Eli Drinkwitz ever sat down with an athletic director and had a formal interview, because by the time that happens, you're getting the job. I believe some people from schools talked to some people with Drinkwitz. My guess is they probably talked directly to him at some point. I don't know that. That's a guess on my part. But, you know, and also the other thing is, look, there are different ways to handle this, and I think everybody can realize and admit, hey, Eli handled this a lot better than, you know, maybe Lane handled it over the last 2 weeks.
How would you rate the way he handled this season in general at Mizzou? 8-4, 4-4 in the conference. About what you expected, or a little bit of a disappointment?
It was. I picked him 8-4 before the season, and the main reason I did was I said they've got a first-year starting quarterback, and those guys don't win more than 8 games. And you look at this schedule, there will be teams good enough. I don't know which 4, but I think they'll lose 4. Then I changed my mind. I let 5-0 fool me. I let myself believe maybe South Carolina's not awful and maybe Kansas isn't awful and all that. And I changed my mind in the middle of the season. I shouldn't have. I wrote on Saturday night, it made a lot of people mad, as I knew it would, that I could argue this was Eli Drinkwitz's best coaching job at Missouri. And I don't mean that. Like, 8-4 is not as good as 11-2. I'm not a genius, but I understand that. I don't mean the outcome. I mean when you lose the backup in the first game, you lose the kicker in the first game, you lose the starter for 2.5 weeks, like all the things he had to handle and manage to get this team to 8 wins was still pretty good. But I think in the end, you got what you should have out of this season. Nothing less, but also nothing more. So I don't think it was a disappointment. Like, you didn't overachieve or underachieve. You just achieved. It happened.
Gabe DeArmond with us here on TMA 101 ESPN. He is brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. James is online at carltoninsurance.net. He's in studio with us and talking about how auto rates are at lows right now. So if you are looking for an opportunity to save some money, it is really worth calling 314-961-4800. That's James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Colonel, a quick hitter for you. And then I want to talk about the big picture with the coaching situation across the SEC and college football. But Matt Zoller's, Bo Prabula, how likely is it that one of those two guys is the quarterback when Missouri opens up the season in 2026?
Man, that's not a quick hitter because there are so many different answers. I mean, I said on our post-game show, I didn't either, neither, both. I said I think most likely is either of them is here, like one of them's here.
Yeah.
Next most likely would be both, and least likely would be neither. But I can see, it also depends on part of this world now is not just does the kid want to come back, it's does the school want them back for whatever they're spending on them. So I have no issue. If Eli Drinkwitz thinks Bo Prabula can develop and in year 2 be a quarterback in the SEC that can win 10, 11 games, great. That's his call, not mine to make. I have my doubts. I came out of that game and I wrote, I said, I don't know that you can go into next year counting on him being that guy. Now, maybe he develops into that guy, but what I saw, like that passing game is broken and has to be completely rebuilt. And I think the main reason for it is the quarterback play this season. Matt Zollers, I think, has all the promise in the world. I think he needs another spring football, another fall camp. I think there's a decent chance he is Missouri's starter next year, but there's a long way to go before you can count on that one. The transfer portal, hey, the guys that are going to start are going to cost a whole bunch of money. Now Missouri, I think, has money, and I think it is very easy to argue what kept Missouri out of the playoff this year is they didn't have that guy at quarterback. With Fernando Mendoza, I believe this is a college football playoff team because I think the rest of the roster was good enough. So you can make that argument. But the problem with that is, okay, the portal's January 2nd through 16th. If you're taking a starting quarterback out of the portal and you do it before the portal closes, you might risk both of those guys saying I'm out. So it's a really tough thing to juggle.
You just mentioned the calendar, which is where I was going. With the calendar you had yesterday in the SEC, it might someday be a 30 for 30 with what has taken place with Kiffin and then also in Florida, in Auburn, now in Ole Miss, replacing Lane Kiffin, and, of course, Fayetteville and the protests they have going on. Do you think – go ahead.
And Kentucky.
And now Mark Stoops officially let go this morning. Kentucky just issuing a statement within the last hour. That report started up last night. So you have 6 SEC schools making a change at the head coaching position. Part of it talking about this calendar. What is realistic as far as changes to the calendar and the portal?
Yeah. Eli Drinkwitz said the quiet part out loud last week. And one of the reasons I like covering him and I respect him is he'll say the stuff that isn't super popular. But he said, the problem is we're tied to this academic calendar. And he said, look, academics is important. It is in our program, and it does matter. But, it doesn't matter at the expense of their development as football players. Because if you are a football player in the SEC Like, you have a chance to be an NFL football player. That has a chance to be your career, and that part is important. Well, the problem is all the transfers have to be done, in January, because the coaches, like, to me, it makes sense. Hey, man, transfer portal in May, right? And then they show up on campus in June. Well, the coaches don't want that. The coaches want them on campus for spring football. And the academic people won't let them leave in March or April or whatever. It has to match up with the school calendar. So as long as you are still tying this thing to taking classes, and this is a whole different debate. I have long agreed with Cardell Jones. They ain't here to play school. I think at some point we are heading to a world where they aren't really students. They're employees, and like, hey, if you want to take some classes and work on your degree, that's cool. Like, you're here, we offer it. But that's not the main reason most of them are here, and I know it is the main reason some are here. I don't mean to paint with too broad a brush, but almost every kid who signs out of high school with an SEC program thinks he is going to play in the NFL. That is why he is here. He is choosing his school based on the football program, not the football program based on the school. But as long as the school part of it is still dominating, I don't really know how you fix it.
You don't even have to get to the NFL to make big bucks now. With the NIL, you just have a pretty good college career. You walk away a millionaire at age, 21 or 2?
100%. You can transfer 3 times and get a little more money every time and be in good shape. And as I've said for years, I don't begrudge the kids, A, making money, and B, making as much as they can. If they're people willing to pay it, good for you. I think the coaching part of it is a little bit different of a situation. But one of the things with the Lane Kiffin situation to me is you don't ever, ever, ever get to cry about the portal and kids transferring again. Don't ever do it. This guy just walked out on his team right before the playoff and tried to sabotage the entire stat. Like, what I hated about what Lane did is he tried to make it harder for those kids to go win. And look, I get it. Lane's out for Lane, but everybody's out for themselves. Like, don't ever complain about another kid leaving a school. Like what Bo Perbula did last year, what Nico did last year, shut up. It's part of the game. The grown-ups can do it. They don't get to complain about the kids doing it.
Oh, and I forgot, Tim, we were going to tell Gabe, we always have advice for you, Gabe. Next press conference with Eli, ask him if he's a housewife and not a hoe. So he's the opposite of Lane.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
See how that goes over.
Yeah, that was. I did congratulate myself at the end of our post-game show that I made it through without. I believe the phrase I used was without calling Eli a prostitute-adjacent name.
So, I like that. Prostitute-adjacent name.
I was proud of myself for that.
I like that one, Colonel. Final question for you here. I know you love when I get some time on a Sunday afternoon and put together kicker spreadsheets and coaches' records against teams with winning records in the SEC. I got another spreadsheet for you, Colonel.
Okay.
I have laid out these scenarios of the Bama win, the Virginia win, the Texas Tech win, and then also the scenarios if 1 or 2 or all 3 were to lose. All hell can break loose coming up this Sunday, because you could have 2 group of 5s in there if Duke were to win, and you could have BYU and Texas Tech in there. What are you anticipating if you do have the discussion between Miami and Notre Dame? What about Alabama? Could they actually be on the outside looking in if they were to lose to Georgia? What is your expectation this week, and any questions that you think could be we're asking this time next week?
So to me, there's only one question about the playoff. Does the Big 12 get 1 or 2? Because we know a G5 team is getting in. Either Virginia or another G5 team is getting in.
Yep.
Like, those are the 11 and 12 seeds. Regardless, we know that. So there are 10 spots. You've got the other, 3 conference champions, the Big 12, Big 10, SEC. We know 3 other SEC teams are getting in. We know 2 other Big 10 teams are getting in. I frankly know Notre Dame is getting in. Like, Notre Dame is already 5 spots ahead of Miami. If Miami now suddenly gets leapt over Notre Dame, Miami, which, by the way, didn't even make the conference title game of that crap conference that may not be in the college football playoff. Like, if Miami jumps Notre Dame in the last thing with neither of them playing a game, it's it's by far the biggest controversy in the history of this thing. So I don't think that's even in consideration. Notre Dame's in. All it comes down to me, is if BYU wins, because if BYU loses the Big 12 title game, they're out. If BYU wins, does Texas Tech drop from 5 to 11 and all the way out? And if they don't, who then is out?
Well, that's exactly where I was going, because it's either Notre Dame or Oklahoma, right?
I think, it probably has to be Notre Dame or Oklahoma, whichever one is ranked lower on Tuesday night, because it cannot be Alabama. Alabama is in as of today. They are number 10 as of today. If they drop out because of a game because of the SEC title game, Greg Sankey and the league athletic directors will burn this thing to the ground the next day. It absolutely cannot happen to a team that's in the SEC title game. Now, how do you drop Oklahoma out when Oklahoma beat Alabama? And I know people will say, but you just said Texas Tech could drop out for losing the Big 12 is not the SEC. It just isn't. Yeah. I can easily make an argument that the Big 12 it should be a one-bid league. The SEC, if you make that game, the SEC title game goes away Monday morning if Alabama is gone by losing it. It is just gone. And the SEC says, cool, keep your money that you get from broadcasting it. We will give you 3 hours of gymnastics to broadcast it or whatever. But there is zero chance that Alabama gets screwed by losing the Big 12 or the SEC title game and nothing changes.
For the record, Oklahoma currently ranked 8th, Notre Dame 9th. Oklahoma certainly had its trouble this past weekend with LSU, but they were able to come back and win that game. Notre Dame beat Stanford without much of a problem on Saturday night. We will keep an eye on where those things go as far as the rankings and what that scenario would look like in the SEC championship game and also that Big 12 championship game. You're exactly right on that one. Gabe DeArmond, you can read him at powermizzou.com. He's brought to you by James Carlton every Monday morning here on The Morning After. Colonel, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Take it easy. It's Gabe DeArmond with us here on the Callier and Thompson phone lines, giving us his perspective on the fun and games. Coming up on the Stiefel dossier, we'll have the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today at 10:45. Martin, you're a Design Air client. You just had a new system installed by Seth Goldcamp and his team.
Boy, the house was nice and toasty this morning. I was thinking about Seth right there as I was walking through the hallways. The house has got the furnace fired up, and when you do business with Design Air, you know that they're going to get it right. That's why so many of our listeners have texted in and told their story, the experience that they had, whether it's a repair or replacement. We needed a new HVAC unit. They came in and said, here's what this could do. Here's why it makes sense. The energy efficiency. Here's what the rebates look like. They walk you through that part of the process. And then when all the work's done, they'll also explain to you. It's a little, that's technology and stuff. It's a little challenging, but they explain all of it once they're done, and we could not be more pleased with the product, the service, and we know this from working with Design Air. The employees, they like being there. You can tell the difference when somebody enjoys their job. Seth's got a great team. You can find out for yourself at designairservice.com. Set up the appointment. Hopefully you're not having issues with your furnace, as cold as it is, but if you are, get the best to have them come out to your home. Designairservice.com.
There it is. Email in the morning after at InsideSTL.com. This is TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN, the TMA STL YouTube channel. Missouri, it is happening. FanDuel Sportsbook is live and ready to roll in the Show Me State. And they're celebrating with a little something for everyone. All this week, every customer gets a no-sweat bet every day. That's right. No matter what you're betting on, if it doesn't hit, you'll get bonus bets back to keep the action going, whether it's football, basketball, hockey, or whatever you're into. You can bet it all on an app that's safe, secure, and built for every kind of fan. The interface is quick, the payouts are fast, and the experience is top tier. Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Burkett has a play for you here on Monday, December 1st, a sacred day in sports gambling history in the state of Missouri, brother.
What a glorious day, and the only way I'd want to celebrate it, Tim, I've already taken the play. The Orlando Magic minus 8.5 tonight against the Chicago Bulls.
That is how you're celebrating.
Yeah. The Magic are balling recently. They haven't played since Friday. They're well rested. I think they're going to take it to the Bulls minus 8.5.
There he is. Jackson Burkett has given you an official play on the Orlando Magic, as you probably expected. It's a very square play. So download FanDuel or visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. FanDuel Sportsbook now. Live in Missouri. Must be 21 or older and present. Missouri gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Opt-in required each day. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $20. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Succession. Why?
It's Sarah Snook's birthday.
Oh, Sarah Snook's birthday.
She, of course, played Siobhan on Succession.
Oh.
Really any excuse I can get to play this theme. She's also in that Peacock show, All Your Fault, which I hear is good.
She's Australian, maybe?
She is Australian.
And one of the Schnooks.
Snook.
Oh.
That's a different company, Doug. Totally different company.
Guys, there hasn't been enough talk about how good Tim looks today. Thanks. It's from MD 2020. Chairman Kurtz applauding. Slow clap, too.
You think you look especially tidy today?
I listen. The reality is, biochemically, women are programmed to be attracted to men of my stature, head shape, hairline, and personality.
Okay.
It's a very specific algorithm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So MD 2020, that's not subjective, what he texted in. 9.4 out of 10 on the return music. Succession / college football coach carousel. That's from Steven Time.
That also, I can throw that in there. It really was to honor Miss Snook, but yeah, that works.
I thought it had to do with the coach. I really did. With Succession. Who's taking over what program?
Is that what's going on?
But that's the thing, is like my job isn't to tell you the meaning. It's your job to figure out the meaning, what you think the meaning is. You know, who am I to say what the meaning is?
I think my favorite part of the dossier that Jackson's prepared all this fun with audio, and I've become a mini Tim now because I fired Jackson all these clips all weekend too.
Don't you feel like you're annoying papers?
Yes, and then I say I'm going to stop, and then I add another one, which, by the way, Marty Smith did it. Final question for you, Lane. As they're standing there waiting for the plane to take off, and they did a follow-up to the final question. I've done that before. You go, final question. Like, I got to ask you one more. But Jackson put in the fun with Aaron Rodgers was not pleased with the media's questions last night.
Ooh, so what'd your grandma think?
And then in parentheses it says 35% grandma.
Right.
So we have a grandma meter now.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it'd be like 100% grandma rating would be like Bryce Harper being like, it's a clown question, bro, or the tennis player after he lost being congratulated on the win. That's full grandma. Mm-hmm. Stuff like Aaron Rodgers last night is a 35% grandma, or 2 nights ago. I can't remember. You want the audio?
Well,
that's what we just let up for.
I got you.
Do you see the flatness within the game and in practice as something that's not being done right from a coaching aspect or preparation aspect that's kind of framing you guys in the wrong way?
I know what you're trying to ask, and I'm not going to go down that road at all. I believe in the coaching staff. I believe in Mike Tomlin. That's why I came here. And players need to take accountability, myself included, and I will continue to. I got to play better.
I know what you're trying to do there. Okay. But it was pretty specific. It was just asking about play calling. But we had more fun with audio. What about the guy who called Juwan Jennings a hoe? This is the Cleveland player
theme this week.
Yeah.
Doug, everybody's getting called a hoe.
Yeah, that's
Shelby
hurtful.
Harris.
What year is it?
One moment.
Okay.
He's a hoe, and I want that known. Like, I see why he got punched in the nuts. Because that's some, like, he says some things that you should not say to another man ever. But, like, I don't respect it because you say that, then run behind your O-line. That's some real soft shit, and I want that.
How will I explain it to my kids? Doug, how will you sit down with your children tonight?
Well, they better sit down with me because they're in their 30s now. I might be upset.
They're more likely to be sitting dad down. Let's have a talk. So Shelby Harris of the Cleveland Browns not happy with Juwan Jennings.
Is today your 5th anniversary?
On the program, no. The 7th is. The 7th of December.
7th will be your 5th.
The 7th will be my 5th. I think.
You think you're going to get there after that?
Well, it was a lot stronger case, much like I'm like Oklahoma right now. It's like, I just hope things fall my way.
ESPN Game Day now, they just swear like the field reporter. The field reporter the other day said it's cold as bleep. Why can't they just say whatever they want?
The rules don't apply at all to McAfee.
Well, I think now they've all said, well, he's saying it, I'll say it.
Right. Saban regularly. Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't bleep that. Because you hear it in games, every now and then the audio will go completely silent for a couple seconds.
Field mic.
Yeah.
Except if Amon-Ra St. Brown caught a touchdown this year and had an unfortunate field mic situation.
It seems pretty risky because you can still get a heavy fine for that.
I'm calling the FCC. That's from Jugs, and he's in the District of Columbia.
No need. I dumped it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but I mean, on the YouTube chat, they're stunned.
Well, what if I put like a kind of fireside chat style apology up on for the
You
YouTube
put a cardigan
viewers?
on?
Yeah, I'll put a cardigan
Some
on.
folks,
explain how to explain this to your kids who might have heard that.
So it can be a learning opportunity for
right.
people.
An opportunity to grow. Because that's what I'm looking. I'm looking to help the listeners grow.
And I don't want to hear that part again, but can I just hear the very beginning of that? Because this guy gets right to it.
He's a hoe.
He's a hoe.
Known. Like, I see why he got punched in the nuts.
Oh, gosh.
That was a great drop to use.
That is clip and save. Now, so Mike Elko's not a grandma, but Mike Elko.
This one's a higher grandma rating than Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, really?
So he was fired up.
This is outstanding.
Yeah, Tim sent me this one. After A&M loses to Texas, there's a real problem with visiting locker rooms, just ask Shane Beamer, and visiting press conference rooms. And Mike Elko wasn't pleased with the conduct during his press conference in Austin.
We didn't play the way we needed to play. Can we close the door and run a professional press conference, please?
Gosh.
My gosh. Sorry.
A little touchy.
He wasn't happy.
Remember that press conference Ditka gave years ago where
we played it last week.
Fans were shouting questions to him from a distance?
Yeah.
Fans were.
Those
I
are
don't know the
media.
fans. I thought you were talking about the one where he was just angry. I don't remember the fans one.
There was one where I guess just like this, it was an open door, and there were people walking by screaming questions at him.
Oh. Yeah. There's a real issue with these visiting press conference rooms.
I heard the S-bomb on the app, Mr. Tim. Am now exploring how I can explain this to Doug's kids. Thanks, and free perk. That's from Brian Henshin, Colts reporter.
I'm the one who has to have it explained to.
The app is not...
I don't use that sort of language.
The app, you'll hear it on there. The only place where it gets dumped is over the air, which is, of course, the only thing regulated by the FCC.
We had to stop doing some live shots around bar situations, after big wins or something, because they said if anybody cusses, it doesn't have to be you, just somebody else walks up behind you and does it, you're susceptible to a fine. It was like $250,000 or something.
Post game of the Cal SMU game, they tried interviewing the quarterback of Cal, and about 40 Cal Berkeley fans, maybe all of them in attendance, started just screaming at the camera, expletives, and they just couldn't even get it done. And I felt bad for the reporter.
I miss those types of live reports. That's when local news was at its best. Outside of Cardinal games, just random Hoosiers coming by. Or in the case of the one opening day, it was Jim Edmonds, who was looking into Charlie Marlowe's camera. And he said, is that Martin in there? And he pointed at the lens because I was in a separate location. And I'm like, always fun to just get a random man on the street, even if it is a Cardinal Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, those are great.
Oh, I love seeing the fans.
You got to be careful now.
Guys, I will never forgive Mike Elko for getting beat by Texas and sending Georgia to a meaningless game that truly only Kirby still cares about against that godforsaken team that haunts me. Elko's a hoe. That's from Alan Dadeville, and he loves the Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay.
Georgia. But he hates playing for the SEC championship.
I'd like to know just how much money one of these championship games generates. It has to be in the tens of millions.
Just from the TV deal alone, it probably has to be a lot.
Oh, yeah, and you fill up a stadium, an 80,000-seat stadium with people paying
But let me ask you boys this,
apiece.
and let me ask it to you real nice like, Doug. Imagine if you had Notre Dame traveling to Norman, Oklahoma on Friday night, brother. Imagine if you had Ole Miss hosting Alabama on Saturday night. And, of course, Tulane playing in Lubbock or something like that. But either way, if you had that coming this weekend, you'd be planning your weekend around the college football schedule. Instead, I'm like, you want to go to Paulimanos on Saturday night? I said to my wife, because I don't really give a damn about watching number 1 versus number 2 play the equivalent of a bowl game. That's what you have with these conference championship games now.
But as long as it's money, and that's the only thing that matters, they're going to try to squeeze in as many of these games as they can.
But I would think that they would be able to make more money by having the playoff expand, but I guess that money then would be, and this is 100% speculation, distributed to schools' conferences evenly, as opposed to right now where the SEC gets to keep it all for the SEC championship game, the Big Ten gets to keep it all for the Big Ten championship game, and so on.
Yeah, I assume there's also...
Who will not be watching Virginia and Duke on Saturday night?
Right, they'll be locked in. I also imagine there's like naming right deals with some of these conference championships. What company spends a ton of money to be the blank SEC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
But that you could think that it would be these companies or places would be fine with shifting that to more important games that matter. It might have been like very 3D chess move for Mike Elko to lose at Texas and not have to worry about an SEC championship. Get right, rest.
Ask Ohio State about having that nice little setup.
Yeah.
You know, Oregon had an incredible year last year, and it is forgotten. They were undefeated, won the Big Ten, beat a great Penn State team in order to get there. Penn State team that was a play away from playing for the national championship against Ohio State, and they get worked over by Ohio State in the first round. That's what you've got with these conference championship games now. You have risk, you have no reward. It is never a good business move to have something that has no upside and nothing but downside. That's what the conference championship games are. You're welcome to text in 314-399-9646. You're also welcome to talk it over with other TMA listeners by opening up your YouTube app. 300 are in there on the nose. Type in TMA STL, subscribe to the channel, and talk it over with other TMA listeners in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. That is what you can do to watch the program and talk it over with other TMA listeners. The program's called The Morning After. It's presented to you by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.
This is Jackson with the Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues and Ducks tonight. Pregame at 6 p.m. Puck drop at 7 right here on 101 ESPN. That was another Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy. Together we drive. Are you kidding me?
You requested this. Why?
Because I like a childish Gambino.
Nailed it.
That's the answer. McKernan, Evergreen Wealth Strategy sponsor the 9 o'clock hour here on the morning after. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you on the program. We've been joined by both Chris Kerber and Gabe DeArmond. You can always go back and watch the interviews at youtube.com/TMASTL or podcast via the Schaefer Door Company podcast, and enjoy the program on the 101 ESPN app or the TMA STL app. Coming up at 10:45, we'll have the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. If you want to see Guns N' Roses, that concert coming your way August 16th at Busch Stadium, we are now giving away 2 tickets to the concert for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Email in the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Those tickets go on sale on this Friday, and you can learn more about that by going to 101ESPN.com. So email in for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. I guess we'll have a papal conclave for the TMA Listener of the Month today.
Yep. You'll
Buck Swope's always critical of that process. He watches it, and I like that we have a sergeant at arms on this show.
I know I spent a lot of time deciding who to vote for.
It's really interesting because it isn't for public consumption, the process of deciding. So,
I trust the process.
And I appreciate that. But to have commentary on something that is not public, it's not really...
Bull crap? Would you call it bull crap?
Rat poison.
Rat poison.
Bovine scat.
Yeah, it's bovine scat.
So at the end of today, we'll see the whittled down from your intense process. There'll be 4 names to consider.
4 to 5, yeah.
And how you got to those 4 or 5 is behind the curtain.
Yeah, that's my own process, much like people who decide the AP vote. You know, a lot of people want to know about my process, but that's just none of your business.
Kind of a Chris Pronger. That's a need to know, and you don't need to know. That's how he would answer
Is
certain
that interview
questions.
you did with him, he did with you? When can I watch that?
With his wife, when they came into the studio? It's available. I'll send you a link.
No, didn't he stop you in like the tunnel?
Oh, that is yet to be published, I guess?
I want that.
I've now asked for over a year.
Pronger stopped you in the tunnel, the Blues.
Right outside the Blues locker room. It was pregame, maybe 2 hours before a game, and he had a film crew. And he said, Martin, I've got questions for you. And I said, what are you doing? And he had like an audio guy, a producer.
Boom mic.
And it just kept going. And he's like, yeah, what else in your career could you think of? And I'm like, what? He was like killing time. And when I asked him about a month ago, I said, where is he? He goes, it's still in production. I have no idea what it was for.
The tables have turned.
I need that.
Doug, we received this text in the Air Comfort Service text inbox where oftentimes they're not happy. Help! Which side of Enterprise Center is the Mizzou side? Tickets are on sale in 30 minutes. That was sent in at 9:32, and then at 9:58, after we did not address this specific listener's text, this person wrote, "Thanks for nothing."
Well, why don't you call the Enterprise Center or call Mizzou?
But that is a good question. How do they know when you're online buying tickets if you're Mizzou or Illinois?
I've sat in the Illinois section, and it sucks.
How would we know?
Cut that off.
But why send the message to us?
How does anyone if there's one thing the audience should know is that we don't know a damn thing, and I think most of the audience is aware of that.
We certainly don't handle tickets.
Yeah, I never know which side.
That's a great question. How do they get that sorted out ahead of time?
I never know.
I just post on Tiger Board.
Don't you think Mizzou and Illinois probably both send out emails or something on their website saying these are our sections?
Well, somehow over the years they have figured it out.
Papers, you going to be there?
Gonna try.
There you go.
It's on a Monday.
Yeah,
Monday, but it's fine. It's a short week.
You going to Kansas City this Sunday? Saturday? Sunday? Nurse? Whatever.
Sunday, yeah. At Sprint Center.
I will not be there. That ticket will be very expensive, and that's a long drive.
Okay.
But
Guess you're
I'll be
not a
watching.
true son.
I'll be watching.
Do your job, guys.
And that's to handle ticket requests?
Not even handling ticket requests, but letting them know inside the building what side Mizzou is on.
Thanks for nothing.
Little Caddyshack reference. Was she Irish? What was her
She was American playing an Irish woman.
Yeah,
I
I found that offensive.
Some godforsaken reason, and then she shut down her film career right afterwards.
Why?
Oh,
Maybe she didn't get another offer.
Litany of reasons. No, that wasn't the issue.
And then Coach
You're holding something back from us.
This movie boy.
The 80s were wild. There's a lot of...
The answer, Doug, is the 80s were wild.
Every decade can be wild.
Especially the early 80s. There's a lot of literature there for that poor woman. She was only in Animal House and then Caddyshack.
Well, those are two classics.
No doubt. And what a filmography to have, but she did not act
Thanks
after that.
for nothing.
And they kind of cut her plot completely. Like, she's pregnant or not, it doesn't matter. Why is Denny... Like, there's no real explanation.
You
for
have
it.
an issue with the integrity of the script for Caddyshack.
I cannot recommend this book by, I believe, Chris Nashawade.
Doug, pick up the book.
It's called The Making of Caddyshack, and it is a fascinating read. It's a really, really interesting book.
Now I'm interested in
You should read that
but
book.
I'm not,
I have it.
But I'm not bothered by the script. When you said tanks for nothing, this is terrible, and I thought it was henching. I didn't know. I didn't know what we were doing here.
No.
Martin discovered that Harrison's brother Master was texting in on Saturday night complaints. So I have to say, I actually kind of thought he might be playing a character. But if you're texting in on Saturday night, that's commitment. But he just texted in and he says he would like to nominate today's show for the worst captain's log in history. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys talked MLS Cup next. It's from Harrison's brother Master.
It's like one of the most eventful sports weekends on the calendar this week, and he's got a beef with it.
Jordan Kyrou plays 12 minutes, Blues win. I'll take it every day. That's winning hockey. Get rid of him. Make a run. Hockey trade. And if you like that so much, you can resend it. And then you could resend it again from 9:52 to 9:52 to 10:06 to 10:06.
And that was on Saturday night?
To 10:24. This was on Saturday evening. 10:34. Kyrou plays 12 minutes. Blues win. I'll take. So I'm just letting you know. I like a good text audit. So earlier when Harrison's brother Master was saying terrible things about Jackson and who effing cares, which applies, I guess, to the whole show. Enough Lane Kiffin talk. We live in the STL, not Louisiana. Great producing, Jackson. Great. Quick question. How do I avoid having Movie Boy downloaded to my TMA pod? Good talk on Lane Kiffin. We live in Missouri, not Mississippi. Let's spend an hour on this. Mark Stoops gets fired. Spend an hour on that, Jackie. Just.
You want Bucko? You want some?
He just can't. He just can't.
Let Leo to handle my lightweight there.
Take it. You want some of this?
Yeah.
Bucko? Or sometimes Jackson might just play the actual raw version.
Sometimes.
The new edgy Jackson where he'll just play. You've been watching Game Day and you feel like you can say anything.
That's right. Oh, they say
the female
whatever.
reporter just said it's cold as bleep out here.
You can email in like Harrison's brother Master. Text in the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Giving away Guns N' Roses tickets. That's the prize for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. I really enjoyed it. Martin, I know you got onboarding, so you will be heading out.
And I got the Bengals and Bananarama mixed up. So I'm going
to take some time away.
Kind of set the Bengals like I did. Like I do. Kind of did.
What?
Bengals.
Bengals.
But he's talking about the band as opposed to the football team.
I'm not talking
Why
about
do you say the Cincinnati
Joe
football
Burrow
team?
and the Bengals. That would be a female band, not the Cincinnati football team, which would be Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
But Jackson calls the Bengals the Bengals.
He thought he had an ally, only to highlight the fact that he had an enemy.
Yeah. Yeah,
but Bananarama
flew
did
right back in my
Cruel
face.
Summer, and I get so anyway. We'll cover all of it during onboarding.
There it is. 10 o'clock hour coming your way. This is TMA 101 ESPN.
I lied. More Babs.
Yeah, it seems like it's a theme right now. Doug, Tim from Indiana is not happy we haven't talked about the Cardinals yet.
Oh, something happened? Nothing happened in the last day or two, right?
Jackson?
Well, they moved Sonny Gray.
Yeah.
And then I believe not a single thing has happened since,
No,
which I'm not being like,
like
what the hell are you doing, Cardinals? I just wouldn't put it at the top of my priority list of things to talk about.
Well, Ryan Helsley signed with the Orioles the other day. Other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot of
2 years, $28 million. Orioles decided to light some on fire.
Yeah.
Gosh, they didn't see enough of him with the Mets?
No, I think they liked what they saw with the Mets, where he couldn't get
They got to
anything
give
out.
a reliever $14 million.
You might not have noticed it, Doug, but look on your right. It's James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Morning, James.
Well, good morning. I think you guys brought me in for my Cardinals takes. That's why I'm here.
That's exactly what we wanted to hear.
What do you got? Any hot take?
Yeah, let's hold Bowtie accountable. What's he doing?
Well, he's quit.
He's like in St. Bart's.
I'm really locked in. Anything good happen in college football this weekend, Doug?
Anything good?
Anything interesting?
Missouri got that big win, huge win, and we were set up for the bowl game.
I think that might be the only time on this program we all picked one team and it covered.
Wow.
We all were on Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very rare. Usually that is the kiss of death.
Impressive trophy.
Good week for us, honestly.
Oh, is that right?
Above 500. You and Doug both went 3-3. Martin with a 5-1.
Oh, how do you
chart.
do?
If Tennessee would have acted like they wanted to play, they would have gone 6-0 for Martin, and then I went 4-2. So above 500 week for us.
Well, right.
Probably the first one.
Look at us. I went 1-6 on the spread zone.
Oh, no.
But I got my lock right, so I can talk about that and pay no attention to the fact that I went 0-6 on the non-locks.
Yeah.
9-4 on the locks. Sweet mother of mercy. And there was some I just figured the rivalry games would be tight.
Yeah.
And it's just garbage. Ohio State, easy cover. The only one that was an upset, I guess, even though it wasn't that much of an upset, was A&M. But they were only favored by 2.5, right?
Right, 2.5 when it kicked off.
Depending on what line you got for Auburn, that could have pushed.
Didn't push.
I had -6, or excuse me, +6, so did not push. Were you surprised how well Ole Miss did under the circumstances?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I was with you on Mississippi State. That's why I bring that up.
Yeah.
So as much distraction as was going on in Oxford, I mean, really tip of the cap for getting the guys ready to play against the Mississippi State team that would have liked nothing better than to beat them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was impressed with that. And I noticed Drinkwitz said, and I've been saying this since prior to the A&M game, that when he was in that tunnel in Norman, that he realized, oh, this is all a distraction to my team. Oh, you think?
He just now realized it because one fan yelled at him.
Like, I'm thrilled he's sticking around, but I truly believe it very well cost them at least something in the season, whether or not it was a win or, a better start to a game. I mean, there's no doubt that's a distraction to the players. And so finally he realized that, and I'm glad he's committed to the university.
But then the counter of that would be, look what Ole Miss has done. I mean,
true. You can't get a bigger distraction than that.
That's the ultimate circus. So I don't know on that. I mean, I thought the line about the Oklahoma thing was, obvious BS.
Yes.
But I also understand, we had Gary Pinkel on last week, and I was really looking forward to getting into the job opportunities that he had. And he clearly, we asked, I think Martin point blank asked about Michigan. He clearly didn't want to say anything about it. And I guess that's some kind of a code in some capacity. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if you've heard coaches talk about it, when they turn something down. I don't know. I was talking with somebody last night actually about that, and I don't know if can you recall a coach talking about turning something down as opposed to just saying that they're staying, specifically. I mean, you've had Bobby Cremens and Billy Donovan leave. Dana Altman, we talked about that with the Woo Pig Suey thing, leave and then go back to their previous employers. But I don't know if anybody talks about it, so maybe that's just a code. I don't know.
I mean, how many television offers have you never brought up?
Oh, hundreds.
Yeah,
hundreds of them. Yeah.
Hundreds.
I'd give a good updated score or something. Seattle would call. We got to have you, man.
Is that right? You'd update a score in Seattle would see it?
And you wouldn't leave during sweeps. I mean, you wouldn't do that to your network.
Well, I wouldn't leave my teammates in a lurch.
Yes.
No.
Guys, do we get excited if it's Illinois and Missouri in a bowl game that's from the St. Charles Illini?
I mean, better than Missouri versus Iowa, I guess. But
that'd probably be the best case scenario.
Yeah. Who knows who he's even going to play in that game?
I guess I'd watch it. I don't know. I just don't care. I mean, I just don't care about these games. I don't care when the Cardinals play the Marlins in February, and I don't care when Missouri plays in a bowl game. I just don't. But I've felt this way for a while now. It isn't the same as the regular season. And I understand if you're a huge fan, it can be an excuse to go to a warm weather city, ideally. But otherwise, you know, if they win, I don't celebrate it. And if they lose, I don't condemn it. It's just kind of whatever. If it excites the fan base, great. But the name of the game is the college football playoff. And now damn near everybody goes to a bowl. Who cares?
Well, speaking of that, is there any team that you allocate, let's say, at least a 5% chance that could get in that would just really shock the world? And the one that I keep seeing lobbying for is Texas. I mean, do they want to penalize Texas for scheduling that first week at Ohio State?
So you think Texas is going to get in?
I do not. I said I'd allocate at least a 5% chance, right? That would shock the world. I don't think Miami's getting in. I think they're.
Who do you think has a better chance, Texas or Miami?
I think Texas. I think that narrative is really being pumped. And speaking of spreadsheets, 3-1 against SEC teams with a winning record. OU, A&M, and Vanderbilt. I mean, those are really
top 10 wins at the time.
Really quality wins, and then you're going to penalize them for that opening week scheduling with Ohio State. Otherwise, they'd be 10-2 if they had a cupcake like most of these teams do. I am anti-Texas. I despise Texas, but I get the narrative there. Miami, the game's got to matter, but there's no way you can convince me today that Miami's a better team than Notre Dame. Notre Dame might be the best team in the country, quite frankly. So I want them in just because I want the 12 best teams. If they have two of these Power 4 teams in, that's a really big disappointment. Why is that? Why does the ACC have Duke in the championship game? Why is the CFP top 12 allowing for two teams that don't even play Power 4 to get into this playoff? What's the logic behind that?
I think it's a great question because that is now going to get a lot of attention, especially if you do have two of them get in, which is possible. I mean, you really could have Tulane and James Madison as number 12 and number 11. That is a real thing. No matter what, you're either going to have Tulane, North Texas, James Madison, 12, and or another one of those schools, or Virginia, no matter what. And I would imagine even Virginia fans know deep down they're not really going to be a threat to win the whole thing.
Yes.
I don't think Oklahoma is a threat to win the whole thing, and they are most likely going to be in. But I think because they're in the SEC, it's not going to get near as much attention as it will if two group of fives are in there, which is a possibility. If Duke beats Virginia, that is going to happen.
So Virginia, I can live with. It would be like, remember when Seattle, beat the Rams to go 7-9? I think they won the division that year.
Charlie Whitehurst start.
So at least they're a Power 4 team. But two of these, what do we call them? Group of fives? I can't live with that.
I think it came from the Central Florida going undefeated and beating Auburn in a bowl game, and that was when the playoff talk was in its infancy to expand it. And that was like, okay, well, make sure that doesn't happen again.
Correct. That's one.
And that was it. But the issue is now you're going to get into a spot where one of these teams, like Tulane, did play one of the big boys, Ole Miss, and they got wiped off the field, So I don't know how you can get around it. Say if one of them is ranked in the, top 15. I don't know what the realistic way to tend to it is.
Is that your understanding of the rule? If Duke won and they're not in the top 25, they do not get in?
It's the highest ranked conference champions.
Okay. So that would leave out an ACC team.
Duke is 7-5.
Yes.
So the ACC would not be in. I mean, if BYU beats Texas Tech, operating on the premise that Texas Tech still gets in, at that point, Notre Dame or Oklahoma's not in. I know that sounds crazy.
I think it would be Notre Dame in that case, right?
I don't know.
Which would be devastating because Oklahoma can barely, score points.
So what I would tell you is this: watch what the rankings are tomorrow night because Notre Dame was behind Oklahoma. Will they set themselves up to make sure that Notre Dame is in by penalizing Oklahoma for having a near-death experience with LSU this past Saturday in Norman? I doubt many people were watching it. I had the YouTube TV 4-game watch, and I was focused on that more than any other games at that moment. It was a 2:30 start, and the other ones weren't of much interest. And I'm going, oh my God, Oklahoma's going to lose to LSU.
They're good for one big play a game.
And that's what it is.
That's what it is.
And that's what they got. LSU just left a guy wide open in the secondary, and it was an easy touchdown. Otherwise, LSU beats Oklahoma, and that would have opened the door for, take your pick of whomever. Miami, Jackson likes Vanderbilt. You like Texas. whoever it is. Unfortunately, the way that it's currently set up, it has at least one, if not two teams that are going to be in there that have no chance.
Exactly.
of
And that's what's
winning.
disappointing.
Yes. Because you go, that first weekend, I can't wait. And you're like, oh, yeah, well, it's going to be, James Madison taking on Oregon and Eugene. It's only exciting, I suppose, if James Madison can stay within 10 points in the fourth quarter.
I guess they're Indiana Junior right now. I mean, half the team at IU is James Madison players, I feel like, so who knows?
I'm sure the feeling when they set this system up was that they'll make football games all over America somewhat important, that dozens of teams have a shot that never had a chance before. Maybe they'll fill up more stadiums. Maybe they'll get higher TV ratings if almost every team in the country has a path to get there.
Well, then I'd ask, how does the ACC have the dumbest tiebreaker rules to allow a team that's not even ranked to play in their conference championship? Their tiebreaker, I think there was two
common opponents, and they have two
teams,
of them.
though. They had
Yes.
how is that possible? You're in the
Miami
same
and
conference,
Duke
you have two common opponents.
That's correct. So
That's
you
a
get the
joke.
rematch of the game that, Doug, you still are talking about, November 15th, when Virginia defeated Duke. We're going to get a chance to see it again just a couple of weeks later. That is going to be fun. And then you have the number 1 and number 2 teams playing each other in a game that if Ryan Day and Kurt Signetti could opt out, they would opt out of playing in the game.
Sure.
And I'm sure, as Alan Dadeville, big Georgia fan, texted in, he would much rather not be playing in the SEC championship.
I mean, Georgia lost their quarterback last year.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the end for the Bulldogs. James Carlton online at carltoninsurance.net. Explain to the audience what's going on with
Absolutely. And again, I want to reiterate this. carltoninsurance.net. We're heading into the holiday season. Meaningful savings to be had on car insurance. That is not me just pushing BS. That is legitimate. carltoninsurance.net. You can call or text 314-961-4800. And for all of our loyal TMA listeners that have been longtime clients, all of your renewals, just keep a lookout. That's when they're going to hit, because your policy renews twice a year. That's when you'll see it. Anybody that's not with us, or perhaps they've gotten a quote from us in the past and it wasn't the right fit then, I'm telling you, do your family a favor, carltoninsurance.net.
There it is, James Carlton. James, always good to see you, sir.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right,
There
thanks,
he is. That's
James.
James Carlton. We'll take a break, come back with more TMA here on 101 ESPN.
TMA is brought to you by St. Louis-based Stifel, a leading wealth management and investment banking firm. Stifel is the firm where success meets success and has been since 1890. Historic company. Their name is all over town. They sponsor the Cardinals and the Blues and the Stifel Charity Classic, Stifel Theater. Stifel loves to support the city. Stifel is a diversified global wealth management and investment banking company focused on building relationships that help individuals, families, and organizations pursue their financial goals. The iconic image of the bull and the bear shows the dedication and spirit of each member of the Stifel firm. They are individually and collectively committed to using the forces of the market to benefit their clients. Stifel's commitment is to provide an entrepreneurial environment that encourages unconfined long-term thinking. They seek to reward hardworking team players that devote their energy and attention to the client's needs. At work, at home, and in your communities, they seek to be your firm of choice. That's Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Doug, do you remember this in the 2000 Cardinal clubhouse?
I wish I could say yes. I don't.
Garrett Stevenson?
I remember him, but I didn't hang around the clubhouse a lot after games, listen to the music. Was I supposed to?
Rick Ankiel liked this song.
Okay. After
What's that?
somebody's computer.
Is this show going on the round?
Is it mine?
My fat finger got in the way and unmuted my computer. My apologies.
All hell's breaking loose. The guy who said, thanks for nuttin', said, got my tickets. If I'm on the Illinois side, I'm never watching Doug on Channel 4 again. Thanks for punching under your weight. That's the guy who's unhappy that we didn't let him know what sections were Missouri and which sections were Illinois for the Braggin Rights game.
Punching under your weight is funny.
Surely somebody knows what sections, and it could text that into us and we'll share
I did a Google search and it just told me Mizzou was on the left side, but I didn't think I really
looking from what direction.
Yeah. So
on the left side.
We're not going to depend on that.
The old Appleton stepdad is not happy with Jackson and the 105.7 HD2.
What's the beef there?
I looked over at Jackson and he was already rubbing his forehead in preparation for a headache.
Yeah, what's the gripe?
So instead of listening to the interviews again that you guys have done in the past, I went over to the skeleton and realized that 75% of the skeleton is just shows from December 2018 through April of 2019.
It's not the case, but
20 plus years of content, and you just play a 6-month stretch from 6 years ago. This has Plowsy written all over it. Unfortunately, he hasn't been part of the show for a couple years now. Do better, pal!
Oh, man,
that's
did
from
he
the
give it to you?
old Appleton stepdad. Dougie's out on the front porch down there in old Appleton enjoying a country time lemonade.
I see he also sent in a text in November, said I was in Doug Vaughn's house, but he didn't know it. This guy robbing my house.
It's nice.
You could just be in there as a fan.
Right.
Prowler?
Like the
I don't have visiting hours.
Like the East Wing, people just come in and out.
You do tours?
So I put together 8 hours of
that's awesome.
101 ESPN TMA Best of, in addition to the 72 to 94, whatever, how many hours it was on the skeleton. Still not good enough. Got it. I want people to realize that when we started HD2, what was that? January of 2022, there has been TMA all day content playing every minute of every hour outside of the live shows since we started that. There's not been like a minute where it's just like goes. It's literally gone on, coming up on 4 years now. 4 years straight.
But it's not good enough for
Do people realize how long 24 hours is in a day? It might not feel that long in terms of like your life because you're sleeping. 24 hours is a long time. Long time. So if someone plays at 2 a.m. that you maybe loved, that you were listening, that's supposed to be my fault?
Well, sure.
The skeleton's total trash. Just make an effort, Plow Jr. That's from Jackson's butt fro.
Oh, God, these people are coming loaded for bear now.
Whatever. I can't win that battle.
No.
I'm never going to be able to win that. Because if it's great and I put in all this extra effort into it, what do I get? An attaboy from Brian Henson? Love Brian Henson. But like that,
going after Henson.
That's not gonna put coal in the fire here.
No, I you like that term, Doug?
I don't mind it.
I bet you didn't mind. That's kind of folksy.
It is. Yeah.
So it's a juice and squeeze thing.
Same segments play every day, nerd.
That is patently false.
Does that make you a nerd?
One segment might play twice in a week, but never in the same day.
You're clamoring for Sinbad.
They really are.
Trust me, that gets played.
How many times has that played, do you think?
Hundreds.
Oh, really?
Again, I want to reemphasize how long 24 hours in a day is. And when we're not doing a show that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's 24 hours of best of content.
I love the skeleton. Jackson, you're great. The skeleton is great. That's from Jugs, and he's in D.C.
That makes you feel better.
We love the skeleton, and we love Jackson. Besides when he backtracks after a bad hot take. That's from Steven Time.
I don't really feel like I give hot takes. Like, I'm not really that passionate.
You're the most passionate guy on the show.
I'm, like, passionate about certain topics, but I'm never, like, flying off the cuff.
I can play back the audio if you'll show me where you just said I'm not that passionate. I mean, it was 8 seconds ago.
Yeah, in certain topics, I get very passionate. But
how great is this? The chastising was the only time we don't like Jackson, so he backtracks from a take, and then you just did it right then.
And then I backtrack from a take. Well, art imitates life. And that's true. I do sometimes Well, no, I don't really even backtrack, and here I am backtracking. Yeah. I'm stuck in this this death loop here. Someone save me.
What do you think you're most passionate about?
Missouri basketball. I think that's the answer, right? Is that right?
Missouri basketball, for sure. Missouri football, I guess, and then uniforms third.
I like the uniform passion.
But nobody's passionate about everything. Maybe Mad Dog Russo.
Yeah,
aside from him.
Right, but you can't
People pick and choose about things that are meaningful to you.
By the way, Michigan, Ohio State should have definitely been color versus color game with Ohio State wearing red, Michigan wearing navy. That would have been great.
Okay.
Didn't necessarily need it in the Arkansas-Missouri game.
But did you like what Missouri was wearing?
No.
You don't like the gold pants?
Well, they're not gold.
Those are yellow pants.
They look like Iowa. Like Doug complains, they looked like Iowa.
I have to tell you, that's a good take.
They looked like Iowa. Or maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
they look like Iowa.
Yeah, they're copying uniforms.
So if you're going to have yellow, which I know you don't like, but if they're going to wear yellow, which they are, go black pants or white pants. Use gold. Feel free to use the yellow.
The old gold is what they used to wear.
If they did that would look better than wearing the yellow pants. I don't like the yellow. I do like the paw print logo, though. I think that's cool.
All right. Well, Vanderbilt's got the kind of gold color that Mizzou used to wear.
Right. Vandy looks more like old Mizzou than old Mizzou currently does.
Yeah.
What about the Fighting Irish?
They still, although I wish they could match their gold dome to the gold pants. They're two different shades of gold. It's really tough. Let's unite the gold.
I see what you do with your hands.
Yeah, what a treat for those.
Well, it's like a
YouTube.
glossy gold helmet and then just like normal gold pants. Either gloss up the pants or, normalize the helmet.
Guys, I meant to ask Jackson about those butt-ass New Jersey Devils sweaters. That's from Merp the Barbarian.
Boy, you're really assuming that I know what you're talking about. I'll look up New Jersey Devils
While you're
versus
doing
Blues.
that, I will tell people about mentality. Man, have you or your family seen a change in you? Not quite yourself anymore, struggling to focus, no energy for the people you love? Put it this way. If your bedroom could talk, would it have anything to brag about? It could be you're getting older, work stress, or the undeniable fact that we've all become our kids' personal unpaid Uber drivers. It could also be your testosterone calling it quits and you never got the memo. Mentality can help you change that. It's Mentality online at mentalityhealth.com. Whether it's low energy, weight gain, or just that feeling that something is off, Mentality can help. So stop being tired of being tired. Get back to the guy you used to be. Visit mentalityhealth.com and reserve your spot with Mentality today. Mentalityhealth.com. Jackson, have you found the New Jersey? Oh, wow.
Yeah, those are putrid.
It looks
They're
like
all
Mertz the Barbarian and Jackson are on the same page.
It's all stripes. They got like 8 stripes in the shoulder and then 4 more apiece on the arms. I like the script, like the jersey script, but that is brutal. Why are there so many stripes? I didn't really like their normally. I don't like their logo. I don't think it's a very good logo.
You don't like the tail and the horns?
No, I don't think it's... I think the Islanders and Rangers do it best of the tri-state hockey teams. I really like when the Islanders go with the old fisherman logo. I think that looks really good. But the Rangers have by far the best New York hockey.
Yeah, that blue uniform.
Gorgeous. And I saw the USA just dropped their Olympic uniform coming up. Gorgeous.
How's it look?
Gorgeous.
Good.
Very reminiscent of the 1980 Lake Placid Miracle on Ice jerseys.
Oh, all right.
You guys talk about other men's clothing a lot. I'm not judging, but it is a little dainty. That's from 2-time Texter of the Year, Arbor Day. Two-time.
I talk about it a lot, and it becomes somewhat conversation. So if you're going to blame me, blame me. I talk about it a lot, and I have no qualms about that.
Speaking of talking about other men's apparel, wow, I just turned on YouTube. Tim is amazing, cute little chap. That's from Percy Blumpkin.
Chap is the right word.
Cute little chap. Well, when you wear the old Newsboys hat, you kind of look like a chap.
I've had this hat, I think, for 20 years. Really? But I don't know if I ever really wear it on the show.
Rarely.
I have a sound story. Kurt and I have a sound story coming up at 11 o'clock, and I'm like, well, I'm going to be freezing, but I won't wear the hat while I'm doing a sound story.
Sure.
Did you lose that green cardinal cap you always
still
had?
have it.
You still have it?
Still have it, yeah.
How old is that thing?
God, the Cardinals would wear that at spring training when they would play on St. Patrick's Day. That thing's probably 20, maybe even longer than that, 20 plus years. Yeah. I don't think they wear that color green anymore if they do wear it on St. Patrick. Do you recall if the Cardinals wear the green
I think they
jerseys or
still
hats
wear it on
St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patty's Day, yeah, I think so.
Well, we got spring training shows coming up here not too far away. How about that?
Yeah.
Glorious return.
Are we going again?
Jackson says we are.
It's a plan.
Fabulous.
You're just going to need to let us know who the people are when they sit down at the picnic table.
Yeah.
Like I need an IFB in for the first time since I did television.
There was a couple times in this spring where I was like, I think that's...
If they could wear a jersey with their name on the back.
I know. It's like a lot of them were like wearing just training tops. And I was like, ooh.
Training tops.
I was like, how are you, sir?
Don't say
Can you
training
please tell me
tops.
what your name is before I say go on live radio. It looked like they were doing that construction on the facility there on that side where we usually do the interviews, right by the picnic table. It's currently
doing it now.
I saw a picture a few weeks ago of them looking like they had some construction equipment over there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because that's the big project, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Guys, I love Jackson's work on the skeleton.
Thanks,
but
man.
the Sinbad and Nealon segments might as well be injected into the lips of a divorcee at Brio. Straight filler, B. That's from Arbor Day.
Oh, gosh.
Well, yes. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with the filler.
You know what I was thinking? I have talked about this Maroon Freeze interview, and then I just forget about it. Mm-hmm. If I don't put something in my phone, I completely forget about it. I got to release the damn interview. Right. I don't know what the hell to do. I just got to, but I want to listen to it before.
We'll have to comb through just to make sure. And then probably get a second, it's like the nuclear codes, you got to get a second key to turn. So we've asked Maroon.
What does that mean? A second?
Well, if you're the second
Marine
person.
Freeze said they're cool with it.
I know, but I think we should get a second confirmation because they said it like on air, like I don't know. I feel like saying like just to be safe, you guys cool with this.
The thing is now at this point, though, it's been more than 5 years. Pat only won one cup at the time. What does he win, like 7 cents or something?
Right.
He won 3.
Yeah.
So give or take.
Yeah, Doug, seriously.
That was on me for getting it factually correct.
Yeah, well, Dougie semantics.
Exactly, 3 or 7.
Yeah, I just think that getting a secondary confirmation, well, we would have to comb through it to make sure all is good. Because the world has changed a little bit since then.
I guess.
Oh, is that right? It got that?
No.
Creepy?
No, just to be safe, to cover all bases. Anytime you're going to release something that was years ago, you should listen to it just to be sure.
Yeah.
We were a different place, professionally, different station. And so just to be safe.
There's definitely profanity, so it would have
Which
to be
is
podcasts.
fine. Right, that's fine.
All right, fair enough. But I last night, middle of the night, I'm like, the Freeze Maroon thing, I forgot all about it.
Yeah.
It's just
Was
sitting
it the
there.
lost tapes?
No, I got to listen to it.
Yeah.
I got to listen to it. All right, fair enough. We got the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today coming up. We're giving away tickets to the Guns N' Roses concert coming up August 16th at Busch Stadium. Tickets are going to go on sale this Friday. You can learn more about it at 101ESPN.com. But somebody is going to win 2 tickets coming up next here on The Morning After. Presented to you by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN.
This is Jackson with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues, Ducks, right here on 101 ESPN tonight. Pregame at 6 p.m., puck drop at 7 p.m. That was another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Oh, here we go.
This is going to put you in a good headspace.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does.
Now you're ready for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Somebody's going to win tickets to Guns N' Roses. But, Doug, is it really Guns N' Roses? And that's coming up here on August 16th.
And if you win, you do not have to claim that on your income taxes. Any kind of question like that, Mark Milton is the guy. He does my taxes. He'd do yours, too. What he really specializes in is people that have had problems with their taxes. Maybe they didn't file at all. They got unfiled returns. They got tax liens, bank levies, wage garnishments, or even more serious IRS criminal investigation. This is getting into really important, serious stuff. Mark Milton is right there to be on your side to take on the godforsaken tax man. Mark Milton and STLTaxLawyer.com provide a local and holistic approach to tax resolution. Mark started his legal career with the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., where he represented the IRS in tax cases around the country and received the DOJ's Outstanding Trial Attorney Award. Now he works for individuals and small businesses to solve their problems right here in the St. Louis area. He is local. If you have any kind of IRS problem, you contact Mark Milton at STLTaxLawyer.com today, and you'll be saying, I am not guilty, I am with Milty. Remember, the choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to give away some Doug's at Guns N' Roses. I mean, it's GNR.
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
I think it's an N is like a really quick way to say and.
Yeah, it's Guns N' Roses. On August 16th at Busch Stadium. December 5th is when the tickets go on sale at 10 a.m., but we have your chance right now to win free tickets by winning the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Here we go. So we spent literally years waiting for sports gaming. The glorious day finally arrives. And the tip that we get is Jackson grooming us with more court basketball. Don't you like that court basketball?
Basketball. What is that?
Not as good as ice hockey.
I guess there's you can play in the pool.
Yeah.
I know that the Ho talk was just a distraction. I haven't been this mad since Friday when Papers loaded the Best Of show with informative interviews, but also an entire segment dedicated to that one time a week ago when there were two different callers named Mark.
Matt.
That was on the Best Of.
That's right.
Oh, God.
Carpenter Matt, he was a great caller.
Well, it wasn't bad, yeah.
That was good stuff.
This is what we listened to while my kids and I decorated our prominent winter holiday tree. I guess my point is that the 1980s were wild. That's from Shooter McGavin, the vice president of the Winds of Change, a Scorpions cover band exclusively doing Barbra Streisand songs. We know our audience.
Shooter McGavin.
Well, Luda was wrong about one thing. You actually can make a hoe a housewife, Lane. It's not Bush League, it's pop culture gold, and we should all be so lucky to be called out with such lyrical gems. On the hoe side, Christmas comes early for Drink. Ho, 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 I'll take $2 million more, and no, I could have stayed at $9 million and chipped in for the NIL bill to pay for more talent. But no, on the housewife side, feels like college football needs a desperate housewife haul from the top down before every non-Big Ten SEC fan base is fully alienated. Make it make sense and stop the coaching carousel in season. Much like Luda, college football has many hoes in many area codes. Time to unho this game for the fans. Doug, that's from Bro Fallon.
Okay. Bro Fallon.
Hello, gentlemen. Ass Wednesday was a darn movie. No bull crud. Got my innards scrambled by the valet boy at Napoli.
About a nickel.
And gobble down some lamb rack from Truffles? Is that what they say?
No way those two things have ever been combined.
Hubby sniffed out nothing but an overdrawn Amex Platinum and a loofah that was pungent of Hahn bombs and a half-wiped leather Cheerio. Have a great week. And then it's a picture of Hahn from Napoli with some lady, but her face has been blacked out. I guess that's the self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom, Doug. Yeah. She finally sent in a picture of herself.
But blacked it out?
Yeah. No face reveal.
Self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom.
And finally, Sadie Hawkins, Doug, the Blues avoided taking any 2-goal leads over the weekend, and sure enough, they held on to win both games. Do you think that was the key?
It could well have been. You don't want to lead by 2.
The Billiken soccer team's now 3 wins from their 11th national championship and first since the Nixon administration after a thrilling penalty shootout over Bryant. SLU Hoops lost a heartbreaker in the final second against Stanford because Norman Pales. His favorite strategy backfired. But I think the lead is hose. Lane Kiffin is a hoe who let some podcaster get under his skin. You think this is abuse, ho? If you can't take this, how can you take the abuse you'll get in Baton Rouge? Meanwhile, Eli Drinkwitz wants us to believe that some hill-jacking Norman made him realize his being a hoe was a distraction to the team, and it's just a coincidence that it coincided with the realization that he's going to finish the season with 0 wins against SEC teams with winning conference records for the 6th year in a row. We're sitting here again talking about the same things. Yeah. Bros before hoes. Why? Because your bros are always there for you. They've got your back after your hoe rips your heart out for no good reason. And you were nothing but great to your hoe. And you told her that he was the only hoe for you and that he was better than all the other hoes in college football. And then suddenly he's not your hoe. No mo. That's from Buck Swope, DBA, the recessed lady's breast. And that's what we had.
Buck Swope.
For the Design Air Heating and Cooling.
Oh, well, there were some good ones.
Yeah. The people played. They want these GNR tickets, Doug.
Yeah. Shooter McGavin was funny right there at the end. Buck Swope was pretty good the whole way through. I'm going to vote Buck Swope.
Did you say the hoes are laughing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yeah.
It would have been malpractice if I didn't play that drop to me, so I had to get that in. Sorry.
Give me self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom.
Boy, Jackson's put to the test right now.
I know. I really liked self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom, but I'm going to vote for Buck Swope. It's a really good batch.
I know. I doff my cap to the
shooter
audience.
Was good, too.
I mean, you really got to... And we just had a late entry. Just came in from Marv. But unfortunately, Doug, the competition,
it's been shut down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doors are closed.
God. I thought the best one was a self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom. The self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom has won the Design Air Heating. And Buck Swope was great.
Really
it's
good.
Tough.
Really good.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Congratulations, self-made stay-at-home Ledoux. I think it's the fact that she's now sending in pictures of herself, Doug, so now you know she's real.
But had her face blacked out.
But Hahn was real.
None of it's real. None of it is real.
She said her loofah smelled like Hahn bombs.
Oh.
How can that not be real?
I'm not even going to ask what a Hahn bomb smells like.
That's just a beverage.
Shot. It's just a shot.
That's just a drink. There's nothing nefarious there.
Congratulations, self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom. You have a 1-goal lead to open up the month of December. Jackson, have we tended to all of our business?
We have.
All right. God bless America. BK and Ferrario are coming up next. For Jackson, Bennett Burkett, for Chairman Kurt, for Martin Kilcoyne, for Member Kevin, for Douglas Alvin Vaughn, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been The Morning After, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.